Hi, everybody. I think we are going to get through the rest of Trontavious Stephens, aka YSL Tick, aka Slug, of the cross-examination today. We left off with Brian Steele taking over after, oh my god, love took forever with him too. It was so much of an overlap with what we just saw with Munk Tunk, so watching this in retrospect is very interesting. We left off really on day 15, with Brian Steele doing cross-examination. He had just established that Trontavious Stephens had lost over $50,000 on lawyer fees, was in jail for 8 months before he finally had this plea deal drop on front of his desk, or whatever. He's got kids to take care of, multiple kids. And then Steele went through some other things, like Thug was helpful to you. He tried to make sure you were on the right path, help you find gainful employment. And also we got into some group chat text messages where it's one of my favorite parts of the trial. But Adrian Love, the state wanted to insist that a group chat about Floyd beating him, which seems to me to be about Floyd Mayweather, and then also having like 24K on his head, meaning the state thought it was a bounty on someone's head to take him out. But it was really talking about the rapper Lil Uzi Vert, who had a diamond, like 24-karat diamond, like implanted in his skin. So that's what we got through with the end of our part 2 rewind for Trontavious Stephens. With part 3, even though we left off on day 15, day 16 people came to court and then it was canceled because a lawyer was sick. So there wasn't really a 16. So we're starting with day 17, but that's to explain the gap there. And then we're going to get into it. Brian Steele's going to still be crossing. Let me make myself little. And shout out to everyone that's here. Happy Saturday. Hey, Sunflower Beth, Donna, Lucia, CMT, Serena. Hey, Biff. Hope, good to see you. JT, OG Cappy, Des. Hope you had a great, great birthday, the rest of your birthday yesterday. Martina, good to see you. Diane. Hey, Steph. Steph is like going to be a YSL encyclopedia. She's going to know all of the footage that's out there. Serena, Nicalia. Oh, Black Butterfly, good to see you. Introvert. I feel like I can relate to your name sometimes, even though you guys see me on the YouTube screen. You might not think that. Liquid Zero, yeah, we back. Q, good to see you. And then Candace, Angie. And there we go, you guys. Bo, Love K, Tony. Look at you guys piling on in from all over the world. Miyoshi. And remember, we are back on Glanville time. So just to show you real quick, this is how much dead space, you see where I'm scrubbing in the bottom left corner? This is how much dead space at the beginning of the court day. Nobody was talking, nothing interesting was going on. Took us to get to here. Finally, we get to start. So here we go. We got some color coordination going on.
All rise. Superior Court of Fulton County is now in session. The Honorable Chief Judge, your Glanville presiding. Court come to order.
Was that a squeak right then and there already? Did anyone else hear it? Thank you so much, Steph. And we could speed this up, you guys, by the way.
All rise for her. Yeah.
We could do 1.5, 1.25. Let me know if it's too fast. We're on 1.5. And that's crazy we got a squeak all the way back on day 17. Still wasting time. I moved forward 45 minutes thinking that's where it would start. Holy moly, the Glanville time is gonna kill me. Let me just look for when they stand up. Why are they going on a break? Hold on, they go up for a sidebar. This is ridiculous. This is 56 minutes in, and there wasn't much. This started when the court was already moving. Glanville is crazy. Why do they sidebar? Oh my gosh, the sound is off, the seal is there, and then they come back here. So 1 hour in.
Superior Court Fulton County now in session. Chief Judge, you're Glanville presiding.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, I heard the chair again.
Hi. Ladies and gentlemen, again, good morning. We're going to go ahead and take roll at this point in time. We're back on the record in the matter of the state of Georgia versus Khalif Adams et al. In 22 SC 183572. Mr. Stillwell, Mr. Boston, Mr. Schardt, good morning, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Williams, Mr. Steele, Mr. Adams, and Ms. Renard, good morning, counsels. Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Weinstein, good morning. Mr. Huey, Mr. Matthews Sr. and Jr., good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Nichols and Mr. Garner, good morning. Mr. Ryan and Mr. Williams, good morning. All right, Ms. Lowe, Ms. Hilton, Mr. Atkins, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Brown, good morning. Okay, so our name of all our jurors present?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we could summon our jurors, please. And where's Mr. Stevens? Is he outside? Okay, all right. We can go. Yeah, we can go ahead and get him seated, please.
I feel like I'm on Glanville time. It took us almost 7 minutes to get to the witness coming in. I could have just started right there. I love that jacket. I really love that jacket. And this would have been back in January.
All right, Mr. Stevens, good morning, sir. All right, just remind you, still on the road, okay? All right, summon our jurors, please, sir.
Is someone like breathing into a microphone or like sliding a coffee mug across the desk? And hey to everybody coming in. Hello, hello.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Is it Hilton? Hold on, is that
Ladies and
Hilton?
gentlemen, please be seated.
No, it can't be Hilton. Hold on, we gotta figure this out. Who's got the chair today? I think it squeaked before Hilton got there, guys. All right, detectives in the chat. Let's figure out this chair squeak from January. I feel like there were plenty of days where we didn't notice it for a really long time. And then all week, the last week and a half, we've heard it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
maybe
please be
brown.
seated.
It's definitely brown. It's brown.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, good morning. Good morning. All right, without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with the presentation of the state's case and our current witness. Ms. Love, you may continue, madam. Or I should say, Mr. Steele, you may continue.
And thank you, Mayor Bear, for becoming a member. Hey to Amy. Hey, green eggs, no ham.
Good morning, Your Honor, and thank you so much. So I'm going to show you what's already been admitted. It's State's Exhibit number 23UU. Go on, may I approach?
You may, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens? You could turn to, if you don't mind, over at number 155 in that document. you have the Zoom? Tell me if you need help finding it, okay?
And Your Honor, just for clarity, is that 23 uniform? I heard you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's you. Did you find that, sir?
Yeah.
Can you just do me a favor at the bottom of that page? What page number is that, just for the ladies and gentlemen who are following along?
55.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Mr. Williams number 20.
And that's what we're at 155.
May I approach?
You may, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens?
Yeah.
Could you do me a favor? Just make sure that that is an identical, you know what I mean, by just over that 155. Just make sure that they're the same.
Your Honor. Understood. I need to approach Mr.
Okay, come on up.
Why do we need to approach when we had an hour this morning of all of this nothingness? A whole hour. Okay, in Black Butterfly, we are on alert in the chat. We are going to pay attention to love at all times, signaling tick. And what I think is interesting is, back in around this time frame, the law and crime camera, really liked zooming in on whoever was speaking. So I wonder how much we'll see of the audience. And we'll skip some of the sidebar. When do they come back around? Big yawn. And there's a very funny moment on day 17 that we have to be, I'm not going to say what it is. Some of you might remember. But we'll see when it happens.
Okay. Mr. Steele, based on our conversations with Ms. Love, are you going to withdraw that exhibit?
I am going to withdraw temporarily. I'm
Okay.
going to fix it, and yes.
That's fine, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. You may continue whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, may I approach, Your Honor?
You may, sir.
Mr. Stevens, I'm going to come back to over Act 155, just have to amend something. Can you look at 156? Tell me if it comports with what I've now marked, Mr. Williams number 21 from today's date. And when I say comport, that's a bad word. Just tell me if it's identical, if you don't mind.
It seems like whatever they approached Steele won.
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm moving for the admission of Mr. Williams number 21.
Any objection to Defendant Williams 21?
It is I don't object as it is from the indictment.
Okay, all right. Defendant Williams 21 is admitted and may be published as you see fit.
May Mr. Kokomo assist, Your Honor? Mr. Williams, you see on your screen, it should be next to you or behind you. Is that depict what is, or is that the same as what's in Mr. Williams number 21? What's on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And this comes out of the indictment, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And you were charged in the same indictment, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. With regards to Overt Act 156, do you see it's the date of January 16, 2022 is alleged?
Yes.
And do you recognize the gentleman in that photograph?
Yes.
And who is that gentleman?
Jeffrey Williams.
Okay, and it states that an associate defendant, Jeffrey Williams, an associate of YSL, did appear in a video released on Mr. Williams' Instagram account, flashing a Bloods, quote unquote, gang sign, overt act, and furtherance of conspiracy. You see where that's written?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury whether you know, based upon your experience and your lifestyle, whether Mr. Williams is showing with his left hand a Bloods gang sign.
Tell him if I know or not.
Yeah.
Tell him if I know what he doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him what it is.
We had a record out at the time called Pushing P. So he making a P in reference to the song.
Okay, and are you familiar with the video of that song? Songs sometimes come along with videos. Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know whether, Mr. Williams, you already referenced the song? And what was the title of the song, if you know it?
Pushing P.
And do you know whether that song came out with a video?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to show you part of the video, just make sure that's the same video you remember, okay?
Yeah.
Your Honor, can I ask Mr. Kokomo to approach it to video so it's not a still?
You may, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stephens, can Mr. Kokomo come to you? You recognize that?
Yes.
Okay. And when Mr. Kokomo comes back, Your Honor, I'd like to display to the jurors what Mr. Stephens has just identified, and it will be marked on a thumb drive as Mr. Williams number 22.
Your Honor, before that happens, I would like to, sir, whatever
You
it
didn't
was
see
that was shown.
Do you mind, Mr. Kokomo?
Okay.
I still think it's hilarious. Love tried to act like she didn't recognize that 17-second video of Jeffrey Williams when it was the one posted on January 4th instead of January 26th. Like, look at her trying to put a fight up for foundation not to be laid here.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number
22?
Yes, sir.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
There is commentary on number 22. If in fact that was the
Oh, now you don't like commentary.
video that was just shown to the state.
Commissary hearsay, or what is it?
Yes, it would be testimony being presented through counsel for Mr. Williams. I can have him to show the court, but.
Yeah, let me see it.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
It's being removed. It was just to show which exhibit we're talking about. It'll be removed.
As long as the commentary is removed, we don't have any objection. We would ask the whole video, the entire video, what he is about to show, to be shown.
Do you have is there a redacted copy of that?
What he has on there is exactly copy.
Oh, it is. Okay. All right.
We would ask that the whole video be shown.
See the whole thing? Yeah, we have the whole video, Your Honor. I'm just showing the pertinent part, but if the state wants to show the whole video, that's fine.
The objection basically rules the rule of completeness, so.
No problem.
We'll just play all of it after you
Understand.
oriented your portion. So, Mr. Kokomo, if you just play the first portion that council wants you to play, then you can play the entirety of it, okay? Got a yes? Okay, all right.
And last,
Thank you, Black Butterfly. Black Butterfly says my favorites when he puts snitch in a sentence.
Yes, Mr. Stephens.
No. Nothing. Nothing, Your Honor.
Are you okay? You have enough clothing? Or you want me to, I make a phone call? I know a guy.
it's called.
Okay, all right, let me make a phone call, okay? All right.
Come on.
Oh my god, what are we doing?
It's a little cold in here. Just a little bit, okay? All right.
May I approach?
Yes, you may, sir.
I'm showing what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 8.
Your Honor, that's those positions.
Hold on, guys. This is 1 hour and 23 minutes in. Remember, long crime on this day 17 started like with court in session. It didn't start with wasted time on the seal. And we're getting to like question 2.
Published before they are.
Number 9, okay, 10, and number 13. Can you just take a peek at them yourself? Tell me if you recognize them one at a time.
Yes, I remember.
Can you recognize all those numbers, 8, 9, 10, 11? I think that's what I gave you.
No, you gave me 8, 9, 10, and 13.
Okay, thank you, sir. And do those photographs accurately depict a person that you know in that photograph?
Yes.
Your Honor, I will move for the admission of 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 once Mr. Kokomo.
I don't
Standing
have
up.
11.
It's 8,
What'd I
9,
say?
and 13 is what you've shown.
8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10, and 13, yo.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Your Honor, the state objects.
We'll start out with number 8. You have objection to 8?
Yes, Your Honor, if I can make the whole.
Okay.
Your Honor, as it relates to defendant's exhibit number 8, I would ask to,
What's the basis for your objection?
no basis, no foundation. There was no question how to recognize. I would like to show this to the court so that the court can fully understand.
All right, come on up.
Here we go. Dun dun dun. Maybe this will be a quick sidebar. Nope, he's leaving. Wait, why is this the most replayed? Hold on, for whatever reason this video is really replayed right here. I wonder if Jeffrey Williams like does something that people went back and watched. Oh, because they zoom in on him? I guess there was something interesting about the zoom here. Yeah, is that what that was about? He just called for the thermostat? Even though the judge just does it herself. Stop it. Oh my gosh.
Mr. Steele, I'm going to sustain, consistent with my bench conversation, I'm going to sustain the objections. You can lay a little more foundation, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Ready? Your Honor, can we play what has been marked and admitted as Mr. Williams number
22?
22?
Yes, sir. You
And we can play the whole thing, but I was focused on, we'll play the whole thing, Mr. Kokomo.
So they lost
Court's
that
permission.
sidebar
Yes,
too.
sir.
The state lost that sidebar.
Mr. Stevens, if this is not the video to the music, pushing P that you described, just let us know, okay?
Oh, are they
And then we're
gonna
gonna go
hold on?
back and look at specifics, times.
We're gonna mute. We're gonna mute and watch the video. Oh, I
You have
guess I
sound plan?
muted it.
You have to share the same.
And it's push and P if you want to go watch the song with the, you know, the video with the sound. Okay, they're having issues with it. Look at the top picture. She is all in that laptop.
And turn your sound off on the computer.
I think I was blocking it, but for Shaquille is Kokomo's first name.
Thank you, Mr. Kokomo. Mr. Stevens, do you know a person, an artist named Sergio Kitchens or a performer named Gunna?
Yes.
Is that the same person? Is Sergio Kitchens perform
Yes.
under the name Gunna?
Yes.
And did you see that gentleman, if you recognize that gentleman in this, Mr. Williams number 22?
Yes.
Okay. Kokomo, can you take us to and just remind us of the exact time that you're showing so the honorable court is aware and the parties and the jury?
They're gonna get me. They're gonna try to get me. All right, is this a hand sign thing? What are we doing? All right, they're
Stop the
questioning.
number 14954. Do you recognize who that is?
I know, yeah.
Who is it?
Jeff Williams.
Okay. And what Mr. Williams is doing with his hand, is that similar to what it's in the indictment count 1 overt act number 156 that we've shown you before?
Yes,
Okay. And that is a P, you said earlier, right?
yes.
And did you realize or do you know that the song Pushing P and the video were released shortly around January 16, 2022?
I didn't realize that, but
Objection, Your Honor, as to his knowledge and speculation.
I sustain objection.
If I showed you something to refresh your memory, would that, do you know when it first came out? Are you familiar? When that video and song first came out and was released?
I know exactly when it came out, but just not the exact date though. I remember the time. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, can you describe the time?
Not there's no date, but
I can relate, trying to come up with when music came out.
Do you know whether it was around the date that's listed in the indictment that's in front of you? And if you don't know, just say, I don't know, it's fine, we'll do it.
I don't know.
It's fine. Okay. But that's certainly not a blood sign in the indictment. Am I correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, with regards to when Mr. Williams, when you knew him, when he was starting out to try to become an accomplished musical artist, accomplished means like a,
Objection as to compound.
I sustain the question.
when, let me ask you a different way. When you knew Mr. Williams, when he first started out trying to become a professional musical artist, okay? I want you to lock in on that time, okay? Is that okay? Did social media and followers have any, if you know, have any type of significance to Mr. Williams? To get out
Objection
his,
as to speculation, and it would call for self-serving hearsay.
I sustain the objection. You can rephrase, Mr. Steele, or lay a little more foundation.
I don't want you to say anything Mr. Williams said. Do you know whether Mr. Williams used social media to try to broadcast his music?
Objection again as to speculation.
Well, let's see if he knows, and then I'll rule on the objection, okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
All
And
right, I'm gonna rule the objection.
And with regards to social media, was it more than music? If you noticed, did Mr. Williams also put out videos of himself?
Yes.
And did he also communicate to people to try to get their attention and to have followers?
Objection as to the mindset.
I sustain the question.
Did Mr. Williams, don't tell me anything about mindset, did he put out also statements on social media to try to get fans?
Objection as to the
I
trust.
sustain the question.
Did he put out statements on social media?
Yes.
And did he do all that under the moniker or brand Young Thug?
Yes.
And if you know, is Mr. Williams trying to portray a certain type of image on social media?
Objection as to
I
mindset.
sustain the question.
You know if Mr. Williams portrayed a certain image as to himself on social media?
I
Objection.
sustain the question.
Did Mr. Williams put forth a gangster rap image on social media?
Yes.
And you know whether Mr. Williams had a lot of followers when he did that? Followers on Instagram.
Objection calls for speculation.
I sustain the
If he
question.
knows. Do you ever see Mr. Williams'
You
social
can know
media
that
accounts?
without speculating.
Okay, and do those social media accounts show how many people are following?
Yes.
And did Mr. Williams, from this conduct, from this entertainment, did it have a lot of people following him?
Objection as to compound and
I sustain the question as to form.
Did he have a lot of followers?
Yes.
And were the followers building over time?
Yes.
And did you notice that it was increasing a large amount? Did you notice?
Yes.
And did it eventually get to the point that Mr. Williams had millions of followers?
Yes.
You know how many millions at any given time?
I know millions though.
Couldn't hear you.
I don't know the exact millions, but I know it's millions.
Now, was there a time that you were mad at Mr. Williams for the content of his songs?
Man, for the content of the songs.
The lyrics that he used?
Yes.
Tell ladies and gentlemen why.
Because I knew that he was teasing me.
Tell him what you mean by that.
He made a song and he referred to me as robbing women. At that time, the whole neighborhood was poking fun at me for being accused of robbing women because they knew that
Objection as to what the neighborhood.
I sustain the question.
They knew what I was known for, which was
I sustain. You can't answer the question.
All right, sustain.
Don't, Mr. Stevens, don't say what other people were thinking. Just say what you were thinking. Why were you mad at Mr. Williams?
For even putting that in the song, knowing that it was false.
And did Mr. Williams, were you also mad at him because you believed in other lyrics he was describing things that you did, but taking credit for it?
Yeah.
And why did that bother you? Your Honor, I object as to generalization.
I'll stand the question as the form, Mr. Steve. You can rephrase it.
Mr. Stevens, why did it bother you? Why were you mad at Mr. Williams for using lyrics about your life as if he did?
An objection as to what lyrics to specify.
Does Glanville look like he's even paying attention? Like, he just looks like he's playing solitaire. Like, he's staring at his computer screen. He doesn't even look over when he's saying he... And thank you, Touche, because this is really a good observation. Touche says, I always found it annoying that Glanville said, I sustain the question, instead of I sustain the objection. Or just leaving it as sustained. But he looks like he's just like, okay, yeah, go ask your mom. Like, just sitting over there in the same spot. Thank you so much for the 5, Touche. And also, thank you so much, Steph JK. She's gifted 2 memberships so far. That makes 3 people. I think she's trying to start a gang. I think you're trying to start a gang, Steph. Thank you so much. And Savvy with wonderful, kind, sunshiny words here says, good afternoon, Cat and Chat and Mods with the green heart, the snake, and the 100 emoji. Good to see you, Savvy Amira. But let's see how much Glanville pays attention.
I sustain this.
It could be any... Did you ever get mad at Mr. Williams because he was taking credit for things that you know you did in his lyrics?
I felt the way.
I couldn't...
I felt a certain type of way. I had a feeling about it.
Your Honor, I object as to non-responsive. You don't know.
I sustain. Just rephrase or redirect him, or refocus him, I should say, Mr. Steele.
Instead of saying you felt a certain type of way, can you be more specific with that, Mr. Stevens? Why you were mad at Mr. Williams?
I said I felt a certain type of way. I really can't put, say probably jealousy. I felt, probably jealousy because, I knew it was something I could have been rapping about and potentially making money of it.
Now, if you know, is it a competitive business to be, to try to get fans on social media and followers in rap songs, if you know?
No, I'm not in the business.
I couldn't hear, you're not in the business?
I don't know, yeah.
That's fine. All right.
Little mini scoop.
Do you remember Jeffrey wearing really tight pants before they were popular?
Yes.
And based upon Jeffrey's popularity growing and the fashion that he wore, did other people start wearing really tight pants?
Objection, compound speculation.
I sustain objection.
Did people follow Jeffrey's lead, if you know, to wear tight pants?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Did people wear tight pants after Jeffrey?
General, overbroad, irrelevant.
I sustain the question.
Did you notice that after Jeffrey started wearing tight pants, other people in your neighborhood wore tight pants?
Yes, it became a trend.
I couldn't hear you.
Yes, it became a trend.
Trend?
Yeah.
How about tight necklace around the neck? Did Jeffrey start that as well?
So our neighborhood, or like?
Anyway, did you notice that he started to wear tight necklaces?
I noticed his stuff started getting tight. This.
And did you notice that other people again followed that trend?
Objection, speculation.
I sustain the question.
Yes, if you noticed.
Whether other
This is
people.
not
Where other people? That's speculation.
Did you notice other people wearing tight necklaces after Jeffrey started that?
I noticed other people's things starting to get tight too.
It would be fair to say that Jeffrey was being watched and he became a trendsetter, to use your word.
Objection, compound, and speculation.
I sustain the question.
Do you know whether people followed what Jeffrey was wearing, singing about?
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
Did people start dressing like Jeffrey?
Objection, speculation.
That's,
You might want to just ask a question before that, so.
do you know whether after Jeffrey started to wear certain fashion, other people started to dress like that? Do you know this?
I don't know exactly why they did it, but I started seeing similarities in what he was doing and what other people doing.
And When you first met Jeffrey in approximately 2007, that years, like you said before, what was he called? What was the typical name that you called him and people called him?
Lil Jeff.
And do you know what his father's name is?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury.
Big Jeff.
Now, you talked about Jeffrey wearing tight jeans. Do you know, don't speculate, do you know whether Jeffrey got any criticism? That means did people go against him for wearing tight jeans, if you know?
Yes.
And tell us about that. What did people do? You're aware.
I'm aware that they was accusing him of being gay.
A homosexual?
Yes.
And did that help, if you know, Jeffrey's popularity?
Objection, speculation.
If you
I
know.
sustain the question. Well, let me see if he can answer the predicate. So you can ask him that again.
You can answer.
My bad. You can say it again. All the objections.
No, it's my fault. It's not your fault. You ready? There's nothing to do. You ready? The question is, if you know, did being called gay affect Jeffrey's popularity on social media?
Your Honor, I object to that because
That's a different question. I'm gonna sustain that though.
Did being called gay affect Jeffrey's popularity at all?
Objection, Your Honor, as to,
I sustain it.
If you know.
Your Honor, you can't fix it without it.
Yeah, I'm sustaining the question.
Okay. Now, did you know that Jeffrey, besides music, branched out into fashion as a business?
Yes.
And do you know Spider? You know this Spider brand?
Yes.
What is Spider brand?
A brand, a clothing brand.
And whose clothing brand is that?
Jeff Williams.
I'm going to show you what has been previously marked and shown to you. Mr. Williams, number 9, and then we'll go to number 10. You already took a peek at that. Remember looking at that, Mr. Stephens?
Yes.
On Mr. Williams, number 9, do you recognize who's in that picture?
Yes.
And do you recognize the clothing shown in that picture?
Yes.
And do you recognize the color of that clothing?
Yes.
And does it fairly and accurately depict the clothing and the person who's wearing it in that picture, number 9, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Now I'll move for the admission of number 9.
Any further objection to defendant's 9?
No, Your Honor, not tonight.
Defendant's 9 is admitted and may be published as you see fit, sir.
It should be on the screen, but it's right in front of you, Mr. Stephens. Who is that gentleman in Mr. Williams, number 9?
Jeffrey Williams.
And is he wearing what I call a hooded sweatshirt?
Yes.
And can you see the type or brand on that sweatshirt?
Yes.
What brand or type is that?
Spider brand.
And who owns Spider brand, to your knowledge?
Jeff Williams.
Okay. And what color is that hooded Spider brand sweatshirt?
Blue with white words. And
Then do you notice a jacket on top of the hooded sweatshirt?
yes.
And what color is that jacket?
Blue.
Do you notice pants being worn by Mr. Williams in number 9?
Yes.
And what brand is that?
Spider clothing brand.
Same owner of that brand?
Yes.
And what color?
Blue with white words.
And then the shoes. You see shoes?
Yes.
And do you know what type of shoes they are? And if you don't, that's fine. Yes, sir.
No, I don't.
Okay. And the laces appear to be what color on the right foot?
Red.
And how about the left foot?
Blue.
I'd like you to look at Mr. Williams' number 10 that should be in front of you. I think I gave that to you. It might be underneath number 9.
No, that's the tongue.
One more
The
time.
lace is blue on both of them. It look like that's the tongue.
Okay. It's the tongue is red.
No, yeah, I answer to the best of my ability.
That's fine. That's fine. Do you see Mr. Williams' number 10? It may be under number 9.
Yes.
Never seen that before?
Yes.
And there are 2 gentlemen in that picture. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recognize both of those gentlemen?
Yes.
And is that picture depicted in number 10 of Mr. Williams fair and accurate depiction of both of those people?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of number 10.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am. You have any further objection to defendant's 10?
I'd ask to be allowed to walk here as to 10 before the admission.
All right.
The deep sigh.
Good morning, Mr. Stephens.
No.
Were you present when that picture was taken, defense exhibit number 10?
No.
Do you recognize the area that that picture was taken in?
No.
Can you say with certainty whether that picture accurately describes or accurately reflects whatever was present in that area at the time that the picture was taken?
Can I say that? What? No.
Your Honor, state objects to number 10.
Foundation?
He has no basis.
Foundation?
Yes.
All right. Still anything else?
That would go to weight, Your Honor, not the admissibility.
I'm going to sustain the state's objection at this time.
Okay. All right. Did I give you number 11 if you could look at that? And it might be 13.
I only have 9 and 10.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may, sir.
Okay.
I think you said what's against Steph JK.
Recognize what I've shown you before as Mr. Williams number 13.
Look at Steph JK just
Yes.
growing this
And
game.
how many people, do you recognize any of the people shown in Mr. Williams 13?
Yes.
Do you recognize both those people?
Yes.
And does the photograph accurately show the way those two people look?
Yes.
And were you present when that image was taken?
No.
Have you seen that image before?
Yes.
Okay. And is that what now is Mr. Williams 13 accurate the way you've seen it before?
Yes.
And where have you seen it before?
Social media.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 13.
Any objection to defendant's 13? No. Defendant Williams 13, I should say.
I'd ask the voir dire the witness.
All right. Can I see 13, please? You got 13 in front of you, young man? Okay, here you go. All right, go ahead, Ms. Love.
Mr. Stephens, as to defendants 13, Mr. Steele asked you where or whether you've seen that photograph before, and you said on social media.
Yes.
Did you place that photo on social media?
No.
Do you know anything about the time that that photograph was taken?
No.
Do you know anything about the surroundings in that photograph?
No.
Do you know anything about whether that photograph accurately reflects what was in the camera range at the time the photograph was taken? In other words, do you know whether or not that photograph accurately reflects the surroundings that those people are in at the time the photograph was taken?
No.
Is the only basis for your saying you recognize that photograph that you've seen it on social media?
Yes.
And is your knowledge of the photographs that you saw on social media any greater than your knowledge of the photograph as it sits before you today?
I seen it on social media.
Your Honor, based on that, as through this witness, I would object to that photograph.
I will rule the objection, madam.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to admit it. P13 may be published as you see fit.
On the screen is Mr. Williams number 13. Can you make that bigger without making it unreadable? Mr. Kokomo?
Buffer. And then shout out to Nancelot. We have a new emoji thanks to Nancelot.
Mr. Stephens, can you see the screen and and it's in front of you as well, and describe to the jurors and tell them by what people are wearing who is seen in that photograph, please?
Jeffrey Williams got on blue shirt, blue pants, and this Nut, he got on a white shirt with plaid shorts.
And you use the name Nut. N-U-T, does that sound right?
Yes.
And do you, by any chance, if you don't, that's fine, know what Nut's government given name is?
Yes.
Can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, jury?
Donovan Thomas.
And by looking at, if you know, Mr. Williams number 13, who posted this photograph of Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas, Donovan Thomas, on social media?
Do I know who posted it?
Yeah. Do you know whose Instagram account it was?
Yes. Nut.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, who Instagram account posted it?
Nut.
And for some people who may not know, can you explain what it means by posting on your social media account? What does that mean?
Uploading the image from your phone to the internet.
Okay. And at the top, you see where it says big business underscore ENT underscore nut?
Yes.
Do you recognize that as somebody's social media handle?
Yes.
Whose social media handle is that?
Nut.
And then, Mr. Kokomo, if you don't mind just scrolling to the bottom. If you know, you see where it says in the first line 444 likes, you see that?
Yes.
If you don't know, just say I'm not sure. What does it mean with the number 444 and the word likes next to it on social media?
That 444 people liked the picture.
And then underneath that, again, it says big business underscore EMT underscore nut. And then it's written me and little bro. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And then it has an ampersand, thugger 1. Bullying at big homie. At Birdman with a 5-star kind of. Pound 25 million, sky the limit. You see all that?
Yes.
And I'm in the race, blood love. See all that?
Yes.
And whose social media account wrote that? I know you don't know who wrote it, but whose social media account is that attributable to?
Nuts.
Okay. And what date was that posted?
May 26, 2014.
Were you aware whether Mr. Thomas and Mr. Jeffrey Williams were friends?
Your Honor, I'd ask for clarity, vague,
I stand the question. You can rephrase it, sir.
time frame.
To your knowledge, was Mr. Thomas, Diamond Thomas, and Mr. Williams friends?
Time frame, Your Honor, vague.
I stand the question. Just rephrase it.
Before the death of, well, where were you? If you remember, I know dates are not good. Do you remember where you were the end of 2014, beginning of 2000, let's say January 2015, if you know?
In 2014.
If you don't know, it's fine.
Yeah. Jail.
You were in custody?
Yes.
In jail?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that for the end of 2014 going to beginning of 2015?
Yes.
But you're clearly out in some point early 2015 because you told the jury about being sent home from the rodeo tour. You remember that?
Yes.
And you were clearly out on your birthday in 2015, April 26th.
Yes.
Is that true? Okay. All right. At the time that you were in custody, put in custody, 2014, do you remember when that was? And if you don't, that's fine.
At the time when I was in custody?
Yeah, were you in custody the end of 2014 going into beginning of 2015? If you know. And if you don't know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you remember approximately when you were arrested and put in custody in 2014?
Yes.
Approximately when was it?
I think that's the date we've been just going over. October 14, October 2014. I don't know the exact date.
That's fine. And that was shown days ago
Yeah.
with that allegation
Right.
when you were arrested.
That's how I remember. Yeah.
Okay. So let's use that as a date. At that time, October 2014, do you know whether Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas were friends?
Objection, Your Honor, is to vagueness, same objection.
Let's see if he knows. I'll consider the objection based on the next response.
If you know.
Yes.
Were they friends?
Yes.
I'll hold the objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this May 26, 2014, who is referring to who? So you tell us the speakers as Little Bro. Who is Little Bro as you read that on social media?
Jeffrey.
Okay, and who is calling Jeffrey Little Bro?
Nut.
All right. I want to talk with you. Thank you, sir. I want to talk with you about April 26, 2015, your birthday, okay? Prosecutor was asking you these questions on that day, and you remember going into the compound to see an entertainer that you really liked. Remember you talked about paying $500, et cetera?
Yes.
Okay, that's the day I'm talking about. Are you aware at some point that the tour bus of Lil Wayne was supposedly shot?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury what information you have at all that Jeffrey Williams was in any way involved with the shooting of that tour bus.
Any at all?
Your Honor,
You have an objection, madam?
I do not.
Okay, all right. Go ahead. Can you answer the question, sir?
I don't have any information at all.
Okay. Now, you've been to concerts, musical concerts, fair to say?
Yes.
Have you ever been to a sporting event, Hawks game, something like that?
I've been to a sporting event. Yes.
And at the sporting event that you went to, were they selling, you call it merchandise? Were people selling merchandise, if you remember?
I know that they sell merchandise there.
Okay. When you were shown earlier a red hat and it said Bompton, B-O-M-P-T-O-N, you remember seeing that video or the photograph rather?
And guys, so we found out that a friend of the channel is still dealing with extreme costs of medical care for her son who is dealing with end-stage liver failure. That is no joke. And insurance, you know, if you have insurance, it doesn't cover everything. So she's been sharing some extra details in the chat, but because only so much can fit in a banner at the bottom of the video, we have added a Cash App that was created. It is Cameron's, and that is spelled, it's Cameron's Medical, C-A-M-E-R-O-N-S, Medical, M-E-D-I-C-A-L. So If you have something and are willing to help Big Baby Jane and Cameron out, that is the Cash App there. Would be super, super appreciated. Huge friend of the channel. And it will be in the banner in case you want to look at how to type it.
Yes.
Was that being sold at a show?
Yes.
And do people make money off of that?
Yes.
And do you know whether any YSL merchandise or merch is sold at shows?
Yes, yeah.
And do you know whether people can buy YSL merchandise over the internet?
Yes.
And do you know whether people can buy Spider merchandise over the internet?
Yes.
And is all this a business?
Yes.
Do you know, if you know, does Jeffrey Williams have a record label, YSL?
Yes.
And does he promote his records, albums, music, mixtapes, whatever it is, through YSL?
Yes.
If you know, and if you don't know, just I don't know. Has that record label also been bought by a publicly traded company?
Objection, basis.
If he knows.
I will rule the objection, madam.
I don't know somebody about it.
You don't know. You
No.
That's fine. All right. Okay. Are you aware that Jeffrey also performs with other people in music?
Yes.
And do you know some of the artists that Jeffrey has performed with? And if yes, tell the jury.
Yes.
Objection as to relevance.
Mr. Steele?
Goes to what Jeffrey Williams does, Your Honor, for his living, not a member of
I
a...
sustain it. I should say, I'm going to overrule the objection. He can testify that if he knows.
Post Malone.
Okay. And what type of music is Post Malone known for?
Rock and roll. Different. I don't know what kind of artist it is. I say
Post Malone actually just did another interview. Thugger Daily posted it last night. And still, supporting Jeffrey Williams, free him. Still a big supporter and hates to see that this case is going on. So really interesting that this is, we're watching this rewind from day 17 and Post Malone is being asked about.
that because that one
That's fine.
one I like.
Do you know whether Mr. Williams has ever done work with, an artist named Rihanna?
Yes.
Okay. Elton John?
Yes.
Has Mr. Williams, to your knowledge, does he have a song out with Elton John?
Yes.
Is it a popular song? If you know.
It's a good song.
Yes.
I like it.
You know the name of that song?
Yes.
What is it?
Huh?
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has done work with an artist, if you know the artist, Ed Sheeran?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the line of questioning regarding how many or who all Mr. Williams has done work with. If it was to establish that he is a rapper, no one disputes that.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
What? My bad.
That's okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has done music with an artist, a musical artist named Ed Sheeran?
Yes.
How about, do you know an artist named Drake?
Yes.
Do you know if Mr. Williams has done music with Drake?
Yes.
How about, except not just rap music, do you know whether Mr. Williams also does popular music?
Yes.
How about African beats?
Yeah. Country.
Country. And did Mr. Williams, to your knowledge, have a gigantic country hit?
Yes.
How about Latin music?
I know it's several different genres.
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has performed in almost every continent in the world?
Yeah.
Do you know whether he's performed in front of over 300,000 people as a headliner?
Objection, Your
I
Honor.
sustain the question.
When Jeffrey Williams, you were asked a series of questions. On direct examination, that means when the prosecutor was asking questions about whether the conduct of YSL and its associates and members enhanced the notoriety, respect, the reputation. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury how crime on Cleveland Avenue committed by YSL, you, or its members, helped Jeffrey Williams, when you answer those questions, get respect, reputation, image, notoriety, street credibility. Tell them.
Objection as to relevance and objection as to the court.
I sustain the question.
Your Honor, this goes directly to questions asked on direct examination.
It's going to make them so objectionable, though. So I'm going to sustain the objection at this point in time.
Tell the jury, from being a member of YSL, that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Tell the jury how Jeffrey Williams benefits from YSL, the criminal street.
ain't got no benefit. I don't feel like he benefit. He don't benefit.
Okay. Now, earlier you went through in the indictment with me, you were kind enough, when it was, y'all just stopped bringing his money, remember 24 M's and remember that? And I know what you testified to, the jurors will remember. But why, explain to jurors, why would Jeffrey Williams need money from you or anybody else living on Cleveland Avenue? I'm not trying to insult anybody. Just answer that question if you don't mind.
Objection as to
I
speculation.
stand the question.
Do you ever give Jeffrey Williams any money?
No.
Money is a hard commodity to get for you, isn't it?
Yes.
And for many people on Cleveland Avenue, is that fair to say?
Objection
I
speculation.
stand the question.
Wait, my turn?
There's,
My bad.
there's no question.
Oh, my bad.
Goes to you, sir.
Now, when you talked about being upset with Quentin Porter, who, remember, and you wanted to separate from Rockford, do you remember that?
Yeah.
You want to separate from him, Mr. Quentin Porter, right?
Yeah.
And Jeffrey took on the YSL as his record label to sing about. Is that true?
Yeah.
As Jeffrey's popularity grew, did a lot of people in the neighborhood start singing and saying we're YSL?
Yes.
Was there any rule to get into YSL?
No.
Could Jeffrey, to your knowledge, stop somebody from saying, I'm YSL?
No.
Could Jeffrey stop someone from putting a tattoo on their face, their arm, their...
Objection as to speculation and compound.
I stand the question.
Do you know whether Jeffrey could stop someone from putting a tattoo on their body?
Objection as to speculation.
Still speculation, Mr. Steele. I stand the objection.
Could he stop you from putting a tattoo on your body?
No.
And you said earlier that people were copying, this is my word, Jeffrey, I think your word was, he was trending or something like that. You remember that?
Yes.
And he was clearly now singing about YSL, right?
Yeah.
He was clearly wearing certain clothing a certain way, right?
Yes.
And he was clearly being followed by others, true?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, as to speculation.
I stand the last question, speculation.
Do you know from social media, people outside of Cleveland Avenue starting to dress like Jeffrey? If you know from social media.
Objection as to why they would be dressing. Speculation.
Let's see if he knows he has any basis. Can you answer that question?
Can you say it again? Yeah. My bad. When y'all do that, I lose my train of thought. My bad.
That is not your bad. That's Mr. Stephens, and on social media, did you recognize people dressing like Jeffrey as his popularity grew?
Yes.
And that's outside of Cleveland Avenue, right?
Yes.
And do you know from social media, people outside of Cleveland Avenue, outside of our country, tattooing YSL on their bodies?
Yes.
And putting Jeffrey's face tattooed on their calves,
Yes.
on their stomachs?
Yes. I met a girl, she had it on her arm.
I couldn't hear you.
I said I met a girl, she had it on her arm.
She had Jeffrey's image of his face on her arm?
Yeah.
And also had Jeffrey's lyrics on their bodies?
I don't think I seen the lyric, but it's possible.
I
So.
don't know, that's fine. And
Thought
also
about
have YSL tattooed on their bodies from the internet.
Yes.
Jeffrey became wildly popular, right?
Yes.
And from your area that you grew up in and that he was there a short period of time,
Yeah.
who else from that area is that popular?
Nobody.
Would you describe the fact that Jeffrey's efforts and talent,
Excuse me.
that's all right, created a brand? Do you know what I mean by brand? Something marketable that people liked.
Objection, speculation.
I stand the objection.
But did you like it? I know you're jealous, you said of Jeffrey at times, but were you proud of him?
Yes.
He did something, were you shocked at what he did? From where he came from?
Objection,
Amazing.
compound.
I stand the question as form rephrase, Mr. Steele.
Okay. How would you describe, in your own words, how you feel about the fact where Jeffrey, you know where he came from to where he grew? Did you ever think that was possible?
I feel like anything possible, but yeah, it was amazing, man.
To your knowledge, do you know whether people say that they know Jeffrey who really don't know him?
Objection, speculation.
I stand the question.
Have you ever been in a situation where you knew that someone did not know Jeffrey, but they claimed to be able to contact him?
Objection, foundation.
I stand the question.
Now, Jeffrey, you said, gave opportunities to you and others. Fair to say?
Yes.
And although he wouldn't give anyone money, would Jeffrey be free to open his house to others?
Yes.
And if they needed a place to stay, could they come to his home?
Yeah, if you know, yeah.
If you knew.
Yeah.
And how about vehicles? If somebody needed a vehicle, to your knowledge, would Jeffrey let people drive cars that he had?
Yes.
Tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, if you know about how people can get cars if they know Jeffrey in his home.
Can I speak from my experience?
Yes.
The drawer in his house with all the keys, and he just, I don't even ask. I just grab them.
And what type of cars are we talking about? I know they change over time. Just give me an example. The type of cars we're talking
Can I
about.
speak from my experience?
Sure.
I've driven Rolls Royce truck, Bentley truck, Jeep truck. Yeah, I've driven a lot of them.
And from your experience and knowledge, would Jeffrey rent cars for other people if they needed a car
Yeah,
in his own name?
yeah.
And did other people, including yourself, at times, were you able to rent a car? Did you have a credit card?
No.
But Jeffrey would do that for you and others?
Yes.
And would he ask any questions about where you would take in the Bentley Jeep, or was it just, here you go?
Man, sometimes I didn't even know I was gone.
Same with rental cars?
Yeah.
Now, to get to the rodeo tour, I know you were sent home. Is it fair to say you were sent home by plane?
Yes.
To get out to the rodeo tour, were you taking a tour bus? When I say you, did Jeffries have a tour bus? And if you don't remember, so
No, I don't remember how I got there. No, I ain't take super.
how about from city to city?
Yeah, that was super. Yeah.
And if you were aware, was Jeffrey sleeping on the walkway of the tour bus to let other people sleep in the beds?
Yeah. Everybody just fall asleep anyway.
I'm
Wherever you
surprised
can.
they didn't object to
You
that.
just fall asleep wherever you got space to fall asleep.
And did Jeffrey make it known that he wanted to show people there is life outside of Cleveland Avenue?
Objection, Your Honor.
I sustain the question.
Was this the first time that you really ever, except for jails and custody, I'm excluding that. Was this really the first time, because of Jeffrey Williams, that you and others ever left the area that you grew up in, born?
Objection as to others.
I sustain the question.
If you know.
As a form.
Just talk about yourself.
I went up, no, I ain't leave out 285 for real.
And how about private planes, airplanes? Do you know whether Jeffrey would take private planes to travel?
Yes.
And would he allow other people to see what it's like to fly?
Yes.
And these are all new experiences.
Yes.
And would you ever experience the fact that there's life outside of Cleveland Avenue?
Objection.
It's kind of vague. I'll sustain the question as a form, Mr. Steele. Before you pose the
What's the
next question,
basis?
ladies and gentlemen, how about a comfort break? All right, Mr. Steele, we're going to, and ladies and gentlemen, jury, we're going to take 10 minutes and then we'll come back and I'll kind of give you the plan for the afternoon, okay? All right, 10 minutes. Remember my admonitions to you. Mr. Stevens, you can take your 10-minute break, please. All rise for our jury, please.
Yeah, so Obi, I was surprised, some of it was still like relevant to the line of music questioning and but letting him like sleeping in the walkway, I'm surprised she didn't object and try to say it was a relevance thing after she's just been objecting like bullet fire, rapid fire. I think she was just distracted. It looked like her and Hilton had just started writing something a few questions before that. So maybe she was just distracted. So we have a comfort break. Supposed to be 10 minutes. A little more than that, but not astronomically more. And thank you, Steph JK. Steph JK is just out here sniping people, making them become part of the Cat Chat Rico gang. Thank you so much, Steph. It's always a joy to have you here in the chat. And then Martina Nem became a member. I'm always surprised when a name that I see often in the chat hasn't been gifted one of these memberships. So, sorry you didn't get gifted one, but thanks for becoming one.
All right, councilors, we're going to go ahead and summon our juries at this point in time.
So I could have skipped that. And for anyone joining late, this is day 17, but the squeaky chair is still here. It's Brown's today. He has the squeaky.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably wondering, well, what's the deal we're going to eat? We're going to go to about 1:30, and then that'll be the conclusion of today, okay? So, and then I'll give you more instructions, all right? So, Mr. Steele, you can continue your examination at this point in time, please.
Mr. Stephens, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, growing up in the area that you grew up in, how many law enforcement officers came to you with opportunities for jobs?
None.
How about law enforcement officers who gave you encouragement to lead a better life? Tell the jury.
None.
You mentioned with the honorable prosecutor, King Slime was something that Jeffrey is referred to as. You remember that?
Yes.
Do you know if that is any way tied to some sort of criminality, that name?
No.
Now, Slime, you mentioned earlier Lil Wayne, remember?
Yes.
And I believe you testified earlier that by listening to Lil Wayne's music in about 2011, 12, I know dates are...
Objection, Your Honor, to testifying.
I'll stand the question.
I'm not worried about dates. But before you ever used, with Jeffrey, or anybody in that circle, used Slime, where did you hear that term?
So, the music artist from Wayne.
Okay, for the musical artist, Lil Wayne? Okay. Are you familiar with the song Look at Me Now?
Yes.
Do you know it came out in 2011? If you don't, just say I don't know the year.
I don't know the year.
Who sings Look at Me Now? The song you know.
Lil Wayne and Chris Brown.
Talking about Busta?
In that song, do you know whether Lil Wayne refers to Slime?
Yes.
Is that one of the songs that you adopted, Slime, the use of the word slime?
No, that song. That song probably. That song kind of new. Well, it ain't that new, but yeah.
It was maybe a different song?
Objection.
Sustained.
You asked me what song? Oh,
Yeah.
Another question.
Do you remember what song? If you don't, that's fine.
no, I don't know.
Okay. Now, I'd like to show you what I've marked as Mr. Williams' number 12. And tell me whether you recognize this, okay? You want me to approach?
Yes, sir.
You recognize number 12. I didn't mean to throw it.
Yes.
And what is, how do you recognize number 12?
It's an album cover.
And is number 12 depict the way that you understand and you've seen the album cover in the past?
Yes.
Is there anything different about number 12 versus the album cover that you've seen in the past?
No.
And do you recognize the person in number 12, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And is there any doubt in your mind that number 12 is not accurate of what the album cover looks like that you've seen in the past? So let me ask you that question. Is number 12 accurate to the album cover that you've seen in the past?
He's doing a different pose, but this from the album cover though.
Okay. Your Honor, I will move for the admission of Mr. Williams, number 12.
Any objection to the defendant Williams 12?
No objection.
All right, defendant Williams 12 is admitted, which is you see fit.
Okay, Mr. Stephens, who is that in Mr. Williams, number 12?
Jeffrey Williams.
And what color is the garment? What colors are the garment that Mr. Williams is shown wearing in number 12?
White top and blue bottom, sky blue bottom.
And how about the hat?
White top, yeah.
And the hat, and if you answer that question, just say I've answered the question.
Yes.
Okay.
White.
Okay. And how would you describe, if you could describe that garment? You say that that's a dress?
Yes.
Okay. And how many entertainers did you know at the time, male entertainers, were wearing dresses on their album covers?
Relevant and relevant.
Formal question, I'll sustain the question.
Did you ever see another album cover with the entertainer in a dress who's a man?
Objection.
Sustained.
How about the necklace? Do you see the necklace or the necklaces on Mr. Williams?
Yes.
How would you describe how many necklaces do you see?
I just know there's several of them.
Okay, that's fine. And would you describe the top two necklaces as tight around the neck?
Yes.
Do you remember which album this is from, the album cover?
Jeffrey? Yeah.
And to your knowledge, this album, was it widely popular on social media?
Yes.
Are you familiar with whether Jeffrey has children?
My bad, keep yawning. Yes.
And do you know how many, and tell the ladies and gentlemen jury, how many children Jeffrey has?
I don't know the exact. I think about 5 or 6.
Fine. And do you remember growing up calling a location Haiti?
Yes.
Explain that to ladies and gentlemen, what Haiti is.
Set apartments on Cleveland Avenue?
And do you know why it's called Haiti, or why you call it Haiti?
Yes.
Tell the jury.
It was from my understanding of what the actual place Haiti was like. It was, from my understanding, Haiti was like run down.
The country?
Yeah. It was, yeah.
Do you know, did you place on your body a tattoo with the word Haiti?
Yes.
Did we see that earlier when you were being shown pictures of tattoos?
No, it's on my leg. No, it's on my leg.
Do you know, if you know, is one of Jeffrey's daughters named Haiti?
Yes.
And do you know, if you know, does Jeffrey have his children tattoos names on his?
Objection, relevance.
That's the same objection. Are you familiar with Jeffrey's tattoos, or some of them? How about on his face?
Yeah.
Do you know whether Jeffrey has Haiti on his face, tattooed on his face? If you know,
No, I think Haiti on his chest.
that's fine. Okay. Jonesboro South. You know Jeffrey to come from there?
Yes.
Okay. Until it was torn down?
Yes.
Does Jeffrey have Jonesboro South, if you know, tattooed on his body?
Yes.
Where would that be, if you know?
Oh yeah, that's what's on his chest.
Okay.
My bad.
It's okay. So Jonesboro South is tattooed on Jeffrey's chest as far as your memory?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do you remember there being a McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue at one time?
Yes.
Do you know the address by any chance?
No.
That's fine. Do you know the, can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, jury, some of the businesses that are around that McDonald's? Well, let's start here. Make sure we're talking about the same McDonald's. Do you know the cross streets that McDonald's that you're talking about, to make sure that I'm talking about the same one?
Yeah.
What streets?
Like Mount Zion and Cleveland Avenue.
And can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, jury, what stores are near that McDonald's when it was there?
Excuse me. Auto parts store, a gas station, a church chicken restaurant, and a car laundry.
And is that McDonald's, to your knowledge, in business today?
No.
When that McDonald's was operating or in business, when it was open to the public, do you know whether it had any cameras, surveillance cameras? Did you ever notice that?
I'm probably paying attention to them.
That's fine.
Pretty sure they did also, I can. Oh, my bad. My bad.
That's the objection. You can rephrase, please.
Let me show you what I don't believe is admitted. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what I marked as Mr. Williams number one, which is in the upper corner. Let's not do that. So, if you take a look at that, just orient yourself to Mr. Williams number one and tell me whether you recognize what is shown in Mr. Williams number one.
Yes.
And is Mr. Williams number one accurate as of the time that this photograph was taken, whatever time? Is it accurate as far as what your memory and the surrounding areas that you described to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Your Honor, object is vagueness.
That's the objection. You can rephrase the foundation if you can, Mr. Stevens.
Is Mr. Williams number one accurate of what it depicts or what it shows?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything from your observations in the past, anything different about number one as to the general layout of those buildings and those streets?
No.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number one.
Any objection to defendant Williams one now?
Your Honor, I just asked for a little bit more clarity or asked for here.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Stevens, at what time or what year is it best?
The imagery in defendant's exhibit number one reflect, what year is it that you're talking about that it accurately reflects? Do you know?
What year this picture was taken?
Yep, yes.
No, wait.
When you were asked by Mr. Steele, does it reflect the year that you remember? What did you understand him to be saying?
I thought he said that this area, I understood him to be saying that this, is this how this area look ever?
Ever?
Yeah.
Okay, at what time did that area look like that?
I remember them remodeling this McDonald's, so since them remodeling this McDonald's, that's how it looked.
And around the time, no exact year, just Do you have any frame of reference to tell me when they remodeled that McDonald's?
I remember when they remodeled it and it started looking like that.
All right, fair enough. Your Honor, I would ask for a little bit more clarity as to the time frame or something, but.
They still need some more foundations. I'm staying objection to the time here.
How about using the October 2014 date? I'm just talking about that arrest that you referred to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And before, around that time, is that the way that area looked? Before you were arrested, approximately October 2014?
This McDonald's look.
This is actually normal. If you feel like, foundation hasn't been laid, the opposing party can ask some questions to see if they're really sure of what they're laying foundation for. And if not, honestly, the judge could say, nope, foundation hasn't been laid, move on. But the judge agreed there wasn't enough foundation, but said, Steele, just clarify a little bit further. So this is actually something normal to do when it comes to laying foundation for something to be published to the jury.
Looked like this before I left for prison.
Okay. And when did you leave for prison, unfortunately?
2015.
But also, yes, her fake laugh while she was doing it was a little bit extra. And thank you so much. Not only do we have another gifted membership from Steph JK, holy moly, Steph. Look at you out here. You're going to have your own gang. You're going to outnumber these 26 soon. And then Martina became a member and said, look, I'm going to help 5 more people become green. 5 more people become green. And I don't know if Nancelot is still in here. We love Nancelot. Nancelot, if you're still in here, I hope you hear this. But Nancelot also sent over some emojis, and we added a new eye roll emoji. So if you have a membership, you can use that new emoji. It's not going to be the last one. I replaced one of the earlier emojis, so it's kind of like mixed in the beginning. So make sure you check out those custom channel emojis, you guys. Thank you so much for the support.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of number 1.
No objection.
Team one's admitted to the published. Did you see that?
Sorry. Okay, now, we are going to use that with another witness, Your Honor, but thank you, sir. With regards to snitch, do you remember the district attorney asking you about a snitch?
Yeah.
What that word meant to you?
Yeah.
And you said something to the effect of a person who works with the police. Did you say something
Objection,
like
Your
that?
Honor. Mischaracterization.
I stand objection.
Did you say something like that?
Yeah.
Now, to you, since you asked about by district attorney, does a snitch mean someone who lies?
It could.
And does a snitch mean somebody who was given an incentive? That may be a bad word. Let me change it. Is a snitch someone who benefits by testifying for the prosecution? Is that your understanding of that word?
It could.
You were asked about rat. Remember the district attorney asked you about rat? And if you don't remember, just say I don't remember.
I thought she said snitch. I know. I thought she said talking about snitch.
All right. I want to talk with you. Do you remember being asked questions about something called false flagging? Do you remember something like that?
Yes.
Tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, how you, Mr. Stephens, understand the phrase false flag. If at all, in any context, the way you understood the question.
I really don't understand what she asked.
Okay. Have you heard that term before?
Yes.
Do you know, and if you don't know, say fine. It's good. It's all good. It's what you know. Do you know, and can you tell us what false flagging means to you in the context of a supposed criminal street gang? Can you tell ladies and gentlemen what you understand, if at all? If you say I don't understand what you're saying, just say I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm only familiar with it because of like things I done heard. So I don't know if what I heard was true. So
That's fine. Okay. I want to go back to criminal street gang YSL. Okay?
Yeah.
You testified to that earlier in your testimony. Remember that?
Right.
All right. To join YSL, is there any type of pamphlet or Bible or rules that you're aware of if somebody wants to be YSL gang?
No.
Do you know whether, in order to claim that they're part of YSL, somebody has to be beaten in? Do you know what beaten in means?
Yeah.
You learned that in juvenile detention center, juvenile jail?
Yeah.
Is there any, to your knowledge, is there any type of requirement that to become a member or an associate of YSL, you have to be beaten in?
No, I know for a fact you don't have to be beat in.
How about to leave YSL criminal? I'm just talking about criminal street gang YSL that you described earlier. Is there any type of beating out to get out?
No.
Any type of being sex in maybe a bad term? Somebody having sexual relations with a number of people in order to become a member of YSL? Is that anything like that?
No.
How about paying money to enroll? Is there anything like that?
No.
How about paying money to get out of criminal street gang YSL? Anything like that?
No.
Is it true, from your understanding, your experience, in your testimony, that anybody can claim to be YSL?
Yes.
Do you have to know them and approve them?
No.
Do they owe anything to you?
No.
Do they have to come to you and say, I'm going to commit a crime and on behalf of YSL? Does anything like that happen?
No.
Okay, with regards to Kenneth Copeland. Woody, remember we were talking about Woody?
Yes.
If you don't know, just say, I don't know. Is he from the Cleveland Avenue area?
No.
Do you know what area Mr. Kenneth Copeland or Woody is from? If you know, and if you don't know, just say, I don't know.
I think from Mechanicsville. Or Carver Homes. One of them. Carver Homes.
Carver Homes.
Yeah.
And when you say one of them, what was the other one?
Mechanicsville.
Or Mechanicsville?
Yeah.
Some of the jurors may not be familiar with those areas. Just you, if you don't mind, and if you know, use Cleveland Avenue and describe where would Carver Homes be compared to Cleveland Avenue at the time you're talking about, at some time.
Both of those places probably 15-minute driving distance.
From Cleveland Avenue.
Yeah.
And if you know Carver Homes and Mechanicsville, how close are they to each other if you can orient the jurors to that? If you know, and if you don't know, just say, I'm not sure.
Probably 5-minute drive distance from each other. 5, 7.
You said 5 minutes approximately?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're approximating, right?
Right.
Okay. When is the first time that you remember meeting with Woody? Like, my word would be hanging out with, that may be a bad term, but if you know. If you don't know, say, I don't.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. Can I have 1 second?
You may, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Lacey Ann, I was thinking about this earlier. What Steele goes home and says and vents about love. U is for unbelievable.
I'd like to show you what I will mark. It's Mr. Williams' number, I believe I'm up to 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. And give me 1 second, please. Can I ask Mr. Kokomo to approach? If you don't mind. With your computer, if you don't mind. Can you show the DN? Can you show the DN because they're not in color? I have one all the way through this one.
Excluding this one.
Including.
Excluding.
One more. One more. Thank you. Starts that. Sure, it goes consecutive. Thank you.
Come on, Steele. I feel like Love is always just making up an issue with whatever Kokomo's showing her.
Your Honor, may I approach with Mr. Kokomo, Mr. Stephens?
You may, sir.
Mr. Stephens, may we approach you? I'm just showing you.
I ask that they not republish the jury. I know he's not doing it intentionally, but Mr. Kokomo has him facing the jury.
I'm just showing you what's been marked as Mr. Williams number 24 and 29. But these are not colored. That's why I asked Mr. Kokomo to come up. So you could use them for the numbers, but the screen, Mr. Kokomo, would be accurate exhibit I'm going to ask you about, okay?
26. 27. 28. 29.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kokomo. Mr. Stephens, I'm just going to go in order if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You need to see the color again, just let us know. Number 24 that's in front of you in black and white, Mr. Williams, number 24, do you recognize that exhibit?
You asked me, do I know who it is? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who's in that, who's depicted or shown in that exhibit?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you have any reason to believe from the computer screen, because that's really the exhibit, that there is any alterations to that, or is it accurate in what you know 24 to be?
Your Honor, I object to the form of that question regarding the computer screen being the basis for the aggregate foundation is the question.
I stand as the form.
Okay. Is 24 accurate in what it depicts?
Yes.
Based upon your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
And number 25, if you can look at that. Do you recognize number 25 in the person who's in it?
Yes.
And is that an accurate depiction of the person who you are familiar with in number 25?
Yes.
Do you have any reason to believe that there's been any modifications or changes?
No.
And you know that person to look?
No.
Number 26. Do you recognize the person in number 26?
Yes.
And does it accurately reflect the way that person looks in number 26?
Yes.
Have you seen these photographs before, by the way?
Farewell.
Okay. We're going to go by numbers. Let's just get through 29. Is 29, you looking 29? Number 29, you recognize the person in that picture?
Yes.
And does it accurately reflect the person who you know on that picture?
Yes.
You can identify that person?
On 29?
Yes, sir.
Which person? A couple people on 29?
Okay. Do you recognize any of the people in 29?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize all the people in 29?
No.
All right. Which numbers, and just use the numbers, do you recognize, have seen before, and that there's no alterations to any of the pictures?
Objection as to compound.
I stand the question.
Which numbers, and you could go one by one, starting 24, do you recognize that you've seen before and it's accurate in the
Your Honor,
depiction?
objection as to vagueness. Which numbers do
I
you?
stand the question. Mr. Steele, let's be kind of clear. Why don't you just take them through like one at a time? Like we start out with defense 24.
Mr. Stevens, look at just Mr. Williams, number 24.
Yeah.
Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Have you seen that photograph before?
Yes.
Anything material or immaterial, meaning little, that has been changed in number 24?
No.
All right. I move for the admission of number 24, Your Honor.
Any objection to defendant 24 now?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd ask to approach.
All right, come on up, please.
All right, so sidebar, right as I was typing a response to Mo here. So Mo had said, it's Mo Too Short had said, I really think that nobody really knows who called the hit on Nut. It could have been anybody. The man was heavily involved in the streets. And I'm sitting here typing away, like I don't want to interrupt what Steele's saying, and they sidebar anyway. But my thoughts are, surely the state has not proven that Nut's murder was even ordained by anybody sitting in this room anywhere close to beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's where we are. At least in my opinion, I think that's a common sentiment here. We're 100 days into this trial. This was day 17 that we're rewatching here, but we're on day 124, about to be on day 125 starting Monday, and I don't think that anyone has more confidence. Certainly not after Lil Woody's testimony. And I think this day was short anyway. I missed an important part. So we'll come back. We're going to watch this little end part here. I missed this part, skipping the sidebar. It was an important part, you guys. My bad. I wanted to make sure you guys see it. One of the best parts of day 17.
Afternoon, okay? All right, attendants, remember my admonition to you.
Oop, slow it down.
Mr. Stephens, you can take your 10-minute break, please. All rise for our jury, please.
Hey, step on.
Free fuck, mistrial. Free fuck, mistrial.
All right, Mr. Stephens, you can take it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and take our comfort break at this point in time. We'll be back in 10 minutes. We're in recess.
Hilarious Zoom bomb there. So if you guys ever want to jump to that clip, here is the timestamped link. I'll drop it in the chat in case you guys ever want to favorite that part from day 17. Or you can just search this stream, the transcript in the description, search for Free Thug mistrial, whatever word you want to use. This is the long crime timestamp there. And about 2 hours and 30 seconds, 2 hours and 30 minutes into the long crime stream. If you guys ever want to pull that clip, that's definitely a good one. So we'll go back to not real time, but where we left off on day 17. Wrap it up. I think they sidebar for like ever. Shout out to YSL Trish. Possible they come back from sidebar and just go home for the day, because they used to do that a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they kept the straight faces. It's possible they didn't process in real time what was said. What a day. What a day. And there was one like that, I think, during pre-trial, too. I do have a lot of the pre-trial stuff bookmarked. As I go through it to like review it, I'll find
As
that
promised,
one.
it's almost 1:40. So, and since I know you all haven't had lunch and we had kind of an abbreviated schedule, we're going to go ahead and stop for the day. So, where's Mr. Stephens?
All right. So all that just to have them come back in and leave. Okay, cool. I'm assuming we're not going to miss anything in the last couple minutes with Glanville. Because Glanville wasn't really that organized with, oh, let's make use of this time. So the next day will be day 18. And by the way, Thugger Daily, when he first started covering this trial, didn't count days where court didn't really take place. So he wasn't aligned with the, like the court streams on YouTube. So if you ever want to look for text recaps of certain days, Thugger Daily was like a couple days off for like the first 20 days. Now, half of this day, we're going to look at day 18. It was also a very short day. A lot of evidentiary arguments over the song Lifestyle being played with both the lyrics and the video at the same time outside the presence of the jury. We'll listen to some of the arguments. I've got to skip the song. You know, I can't play that out loud. Like the stream will be like cut off, but there's still another short day. Who's surprised? Let's see. No judge seated. We got the fuzzy sweater. Looks like we don't really get to anything productive. Let's see if we hear Schardt talking here. Nope, it's still muted. So yeah, so Trontavious Stephens took the stand, I think, like January 3rd. Yeah, January 3rd, and he ends up being on the stand until January 29th because of how they manage the court calendar. And because Love also took like 10 years to do direct and redirect. She does a really long redirect. Like literally a month. There was a week-long recess, so that was part of it. All right. Do we get any talking yet, finally?
All rise. Superior Court of Fulton County now in session. The Honorable Chief Judge, Your Granville presiding.
All right, good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and call roll for the morning and see where we are. This is, we're back on the record of the matter of the state of Georgia versus Cleef Adams et al., 22 SC 183572.
And the color
Mr.
coordination.
Stillwell, Mr. Botts, and Mr. Schardt, good morning, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Williams, Mr. Steele, Mr. Adams, and Ms. Renard, good morning. All right, Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Weinstein, good morning. All right. Mr. Matthews Sr. and Mr. Huey, good morning, gentlemen. All right. Mr. Nichols, Mr. Harvey, and Mr. That's it. All right, that's enough. All right. And Mr. Ryan and Misty Williams. All right, good morning. All right. Ladies from the state in red.
He called it out.
It's a very special day. Okay, all right. And Ms. Love, Ms. Hilton.
Wait, if it's a very special day because you're color coordinating, what? They've been color coordinating like every day.
Good morning. And gentlemen, Mr. Atkins, Mr. Brown, Mr. Smith, good morning. Good morning. Okay. All right. Folks, we're going to go to probably about between 11:30 or thereabouts, and then we will commence, or I should say recess for today. And then consistent with the court's earlier direction, since I have unrelated business tomorrow, and then the following week I've told the MLK week, I've told the jury that we will have some administrative days for you all to take care of some other things. So we'll recommence again on the 22nd, and I'll give them the next several weeks in advance at that time. All right.
Judge, there was one matter that Mr. Steele brought to our attention. I don't know if he intends to.
What is it?
He had intended to introduce a video. I don't know if he intends to do that today, but
The
he does.
lifestyle
It's a matter
video.
that would probably be best argued outside the presence of the jury. He served it on us this morning that he intended to do that. So
How long is that video?
it's 4 minutes, maybe.
Okay, have you all looked at it?
Yes, we've looked at it. We contend that it is inadmissible through Mr. Stephens by Mr. Steele under 24-8801 D2A. It's his client's video. Argued outside the presence of the jury. He served it on us this morning that he intended to do that. So how long is that video? Oops.
Hold on one second.
And touche. Remember the hoverboards in the mall? And the Fast and Furious car landing at the laundromat? The bus shooting? Donovan Thomas? Does the jury know what this case is about? No, and honestly, that like Google Maps thing where they just said like, oh, there's a Google Maps picture, and you could see in the Google Maps picture there was like a cat sitting near the bus stop. I was like, why are we getting this random detail? And to be fair, I think that was Michael Sprinkle. So that wasn't in front of the jury yet. But I was like, why do we have such a specific detail about what's on a Google Maps photo? But no, this trial is nonsensical with the amount of details, extraneous details that come in. And we're going to see how long it takes to fight over these details too, because from this is a 2-hour stream this day. From about 50 minutes to, I think right here, they get the jury back in. They argue for just about an hour about whether or not this video can be played with the audio of the song Lifestyle through this witness. They argue it again for other witnesses. It's just a mess. Thank you so much for your support, Touche. And Black Butterfly says, the special day has to do with deltas. Oh, okay. That's hilarious that special color happens to be red. That is so good. Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you for the detail there, because I wouldn't have caught it, because they just color coordinate other days, like yesterday was Salmon Day. Ah, you're so good. You guys are so good in the chat with the details. But let's find out how many questions we get through today around these evidentiary issues. And you guys let me know about the speed too.
What's Zoom link? Zoom link for
Yeah, yesterday it said yesterday, yeah. And then it changed to 14.
Do you know something? All right, Mr. Steele, are you trying to show this video today?
Yes, sir.
I see. Thank you.
Let's mark it, and can we pull it up so I can look at it? What exhibit are you going to mark it as, Mr. Steele?
Your Honor, that will be number 32, Mr. Williams, number 32, and fast, Mr. Copeland, to share report that
If he's faster today, okay? Because I'm really kind of annoyed with his slowness of pulling up these videos. I'm just teasing. All right, Mr. Kokomo, can you pull it up? Okay. No pressure. Yeah. Hold on one second, Mr. Kokomo. I need to get my Zoom link. One second.
Okay, they're gonna get me. Talk over it. Talk over it. Blah 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 blah. What's really funny though, people joke about the auto-tune and the way he raps in that song. I could just mumble and it'll just blend right in. And we've definitely got to watch the attorneys, because the attorneys be bobbing along.
One time's enough, Mr. Kokomo. All right, okay, all right. So, Mr. Steele, you want me to admit this, and what's the reason? I suppose you're gonna lay a foundation through Mr. Stephens?
Good morning, sir. Yes, that is true. And then, assuming that foundation is laid to the Honorable Court's satisfaction, and the Court admits it, there are three things that are pertinent to this video. You will look, if you don't mind, or may remember, in overt act number 14 of count 1. You will see a photograph that the grand jury attached to that charge, and it's Mr. Williams along with Mr. Copeland. It's a Instagram posting, allegedly with Mr. Williams' Instagram handle, and they're wearing shirts that you see in this video. The shirts are RG, and RG, it would, my contention, stands for Rich Gang. And Rich Gang, we're here with an allegation of a criminal street gang. And I want the jurors, I think I'm entitled, I would like to, entitled to show the jurors what Rich Gang is. That is their music compilation. Number 2,
okay.
There is a lot of red being worn in the video that has been just played for the Samba Court, which I believe is number 31. If I'm wrong, it's 32.
Okay, wait. So you guys are saying January 11th isn't about the Deltas, but if they're about to play this video, they're about to show that they're wearing reds, and they said that this video was just served on them. What did they wear red for then? Like, what? Are they trying to outshine the music video that's going to be played possibly for the jury today, which it's not going to end up being published to the jury? But if this wasn't Delta Day, January 11th, what is going on? What is going on?
32.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Williams is not wearing red in the video. It is being worn by other people. The third reason, Your Honor, is there are 2 witnesses on the state's witness list. Mr. Brian Williams, his performing name is Birdman. And Mr., and of course, I can't remember, it's Lamar. I can't remember his first name.
Qantas Lamar?
Thank you, I apologize.
Okay,
Also,
all right.
a performer known as Rich Omikwan, or RHQ. He's in that video. He's a performer. It will explain Mr. Williams' relationship with them. And this is not a statement as in OCGA section 24-8-801D2A, as in Elisa and Alpha, because I am not looking for this statement or these words of Mr. Williams. He is singing. There are lyrics of Mr. Williams that he is singing on this video, but these words are not for the indictment. This was also made in 2012 or 13.
This video?
Yes, I have to check my notes.
All right, got all that. Why do you think that Mr. Stephens would be a better witness for foundation rather than either Birdman or Mr. Williams or Mr. Lamar, Rich Homie Kwan? If they're in the video and if they're going to be called, why wouldn't it be better to lay a foundation for them?
2 reasons. First of all, I believe that Mr. Stephens can. This is a public domain.
Doesn't make a difference if it's public or not. You still have to have some basis of like frame of reference to then kind of just lay the foundation from that. You still have to kind of orient it as to place and space. And I'm not saying that it's not admissible. It's just I don't think that unless he has some nexus with that. I mean, then we'd be up here all the time and you'd just be showing people, oh, do you understand this, or do is this the person that we're looking at? You got to have context, and if he can't provide context, he's not the best person to probably lay the foundation for that. I mean, he can state the obvious, but he's got no context. Much like, or different, like if you have Mr. Williams or Mr. Lamar come in and they say, okay, well, listen, yeah, I'm in the video, and let me tell you, in 2012 or 13 with the foundation, this is what was going on, and here's why we're singing about which guy. Do you see the difference?
No.
Well, okay. We'll have to disagree professionally on that one.
I'm not trying to disagree.
No. Look,
You're asking me a question.
I'm asking you a question, but I'm also telling you why I would probably sustain the state's objection. At this point, I think from the court's perspective, it's admissible. It's just not admissible through him.
Well, I'm going to then ask the court to reconsider for two issues. First of all, and I know every ruling is different. I'm aware of that. But the pushing P video that is directly in the indictment, Mr. Stephens did not have any type of nexus to this.
And it was objected to. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you why I as the gatekeeper are not going to continue on that line of introduction.
Then I don't want to raise a frivolous motion.
No.
That is the gatekeeper that you are going to do, and that the gate's not opening up right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you. Again, I think the evidence is relevant and it's admissible for the reasons you just told me. Now, I understand that, this is the state's case in chief, and you're trying to get out what you need. He's just not the witness to do so.
Well, I also like in the court to, when I make the motion, I'm making it now. Then any of the state's witnesses who are going to talk about lyrics, going to talk about videos, going to talk about photographs, they have no nexus. They are just pulling things off the internet that's in the public domain. And then if this honorable court just adopts this, or not adopts, if enforces this ruling, then I'm making a motion to exclude that evidence.
I rule on what's in front of me. Okay, it's disingenuous for you to say that. Okay, I look at what is presented before me. I try and get it right for both sides. I am not admitting or excluding evidence in a vacuum. So for you to say that is disingenuous to the court. I'm going to look at the evidence depending upon the facts and circumstances of what I have before me. If the state has an issue with foundation, I'm going to hold them accountable as well. And remember what I told you about the lyrics and everything else. It is dependent upon what is presented in terms of a foundation. And I believe I made that very clear when we argued that motion with Mr. Carlson. So I'm just telling you, I believe your evidence is for a proper purpose. I just don't believe that Mr. Stephens is the right person at this time for the reasons that I've just stated. He provides no. Part of it is you have to understand. You have to know what's in what you have to know, or have some relevant basis to testify about what's in the video, or what's in the item, what's in the picture. Mr. Stephens struggled with that yesterday. He really did, and that's the court's concern. Madam, did you have something you want to say?
I do, Your Honor. Additionally, Your Honor, the requirement of Rule 801 D2A that an admission, and it does not have to be inculpatory or exculpatory, but that it be offered against a party is designed to exclude the introduction of self-serving statements by the party making them. So the state's contention is that if Mr. Williams wants to put in words spoken by Mr. Williams will have to take the stand, and he can get that in, and that he would be the proper person to get in his statements through, not someone else. That is the reason that we are objecting.
As strenuous as I've ever been before court, disagree. I am not using these lyrics or statements for any type of truth of matter. I am not. I am showing what I told the court. The lyrics, as everything, are not taken for truth. So 801 D2A is not a statement as a state is trying to make. If they want to say any utterance by Mr. Williams is some sort of self-serving statement, that is not true.
It's still a statement
that's self-serving, and it has
it's got 801. A statement means an oral or written assertion or nonverbal conduct of a person if it's intended by the person as an assertion. So oral or written assertion is pretty broad under 801A. Mr. Steele, you can identify it. I'm telling you how I'm probably going to rule at this point in time. And if that's your desire, I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to admit it at this time, but however, that I'll reconsider it depending upon who else testifies.
So noted.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and, unless there's anything else, we're going to call for our jury. Sorry, neighbor?
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
All
All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. Good morning. All right, we're going to continue with our current examination. Mr. Stephens still on the road, sir. And Ms. Love, you may, I should say, I'm sorry, Mr. Steele, you may continue with your examination, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Stephens, are you familiar with music produced by and performed by a group of people they call themselves Rich Gang? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you ever seen any merchandise, or merch as you call it, the symbol for Rich Gang? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Can you explain to ladies and gentlemen jury what it looks like?
She had a picture of it with it on. When she showed the picture, I had it on in that picture.
Okay. I'm going to, and is it, you identify for the ladies and gentlemen jury?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask someone to find that picture while we continue with that, okay? Thank you, Mr. Schardt. I will come back to that, okay? Tell ladies and gentlemen jury, what is Rich Gang? Some of them may not know.
A music label? Music label?
I couldn't hear you.
A music label?
Okay. And do you know the members of Rich Gang?
Nah.
That's fine. All right, we're going to come back to that then. I'd like to show you. Did you ever see in GQ magazine? Do you ever see Jeffrey in that magazine?
Yes.
I want to show you again, and I showed you the color pictures yesterday, but I'll just show you what I've already marked, and that's where we stopped it yesterday. This is Mr. Williams, number 25, 26, 27, 28.
Your Honor, they have the same objection.
I'll stand as the foundation, Mr. Steele. You can lay a little foundation context. You may, sir.
Yes.
I'm showing you what has already been marked as 25, Mr. Williams, all the way up to 28, okay? You can spread them out or look at individual. Have you looked at them?
I sent you one from yesterday.
Yes, okay. Are you familiar with those photographs, and I can show you them in color again if you need to, being from the GQ magazine that you've seen?
Yeah, this one.
Okay, what number is it?
28.
Number 28, how about the other numbers? We'll just go one by one.
I know this one for sure.
Okay. So you don't
What's
know
this
the-
one? Which 28? Okay.
How about the other three? You don't remember? That's fine. Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission. It's going to be colored. It's not the black and white that's in front of Mr. Stephens of Mr. Williams, number 28.
Any objection to Williams 28?
Your Honor, for the reasons that I made yesterday, as to 28, the state.
Can I see 28 color one?
Yes.
Please.
Can Mr. Kokomo approach with his computer?
Are you going to admit a color photo?
Of course.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me see it. Show it to, Mr. Kokomo, show it to Ms. Lowe, please. First. Okay, all right, just hand to Mr. Kearns. It's not the same, Mr. Steele. You might want to take a look at what you have.
Kokomo, can you just adjust it?
Well, I advanced it to 20, yeah. See, that's
not it, Mr. Kokomo.
That 26 or 20?
Mr. Kokomo, just look at that picture and match it.
So which one is it that you want to show him, 26 or 28?
Whatever the correct one that Mr. Stephens
Okay,
identified.
that one, that's the one? Okay. All right.
It look like a 8.
Okay, it's 26, actually.
It look like
All
a 8.
right, okay, show that to Ms. Lowe.
It look like an 8 then. No, I'm saying it looked like an 8. Yeah.
Mine was at 6.
You'll see.
For the record, it is 26, not 28.
That's correct.
And my handwriting confused everyone.
All right, let me pose a couple questions. Mr. Stephens, how do you know about the photo in Defendant Williams 26?
Like anytime I used to like hear or see anything about a magazine with him in it, knowing that's somebody I grew up with, I go check it out because they were like the magazine big. So yeah, I recall checking a lot of stuff out. They were like magazine wise.
Okay, and it's your testimony that you have seen or you saw this particular picture in
Yep. So Gladeville's trying to find out on the state's behalf, it seems like, whether the first time he saw this photo was because the defense attorney showed it to him. Great answer from Tick. Very genuine.
You said GQ magazine?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions based on the court's one?
State does not have any objection to number 26.
26, I should say. I'll admit 26 and maybe publish as you. Defendant wins 26 and maybe publish as you see fit.
Mr. Stephens, you remember this from GQ magazine?
Yes.
You remember it being in 2016?
I don't remember the date, but I remember the magazine.
I couldn't hear you.
I don't remember the date. I remember the magazine.
And do you remember this being a highlighter on Jeffrey in GQ magazine?
Yeah.
And were there, I know you don't remember, but were there other pictures? I'm not saying you remember them, but do you remember other pictures?
I remember that particular picture.
Okay. And it may be obvious to some, but what color is Jeffrey wearing in the shirt?
It's blue.
And white?
Blue and white.
Okay. And how about the pants?
Blue.
Okay. You can take it down, Mr. Kokomo, and thank you so much. I'm going to show you what's been already marked, and I believe admitted into evidence 12U. May I approach your Honor? Yes, sir. And if, Your Honor, I don't have this on my upload. Can I show it to the jurors just by passing it around in a moment? That'd be great.
Okay.
Mr. Stephens, is that the photograph that you referring to earlier when I was asking you a question about Rich Gang?
Yes.
And does Rich Gang have a lot of different, if you know, merchandise that they wear and sell?
Yes.
Is this what you're wearing in 12U, states the exhibit number?
Yes.
And is that just one type of Rich Gang merch or merchandise?
Yes.
Okay. I believe that the state is going to put it so the jurors can see. And just for the jurors' memory, who else is in that picture with you?
In the middle, Shannon Stillwell, and then my far left is Antonio Sledge.
And those are people you identified already?
Yes.
Okay. Are you saying that Rich Gang in any way is any type of criminal street gang who does crime to further the interests of the gang? What, do you have any knowledge that Rich Gang is anything other than a music group?
No. Nope.
Do you know who Birdman Williams is, Brian Birdman Williams?
Yes.
Was he a member of Rich Gang?
Yes.
And is he a known performer, musical performer?
Yes.
And if you know, has he done work with Nicki Minaj, if you know?
Yes.
Drake, if you know?
Yes.
Is he also a producer of music? A record label?
Just saw the same picture with Munk Tunk.
Yeah, a lot of things from my understanding. I don't know, like, specific.
How about Lil Wayne? Did Mr. Brian or Birdman Williams, did he have an association with Lil Wayne?
Yes.
Did he raise Lil Wayne, if you know?
I sustain the objection.
Okay. Did he promote Lil Wayne's career, if you know?
Yes.
And is that what you were saying earlier about Jeffrey wanted a record label to sing about YSL, Cash Money Records? Is that what Birdman Williams and Lil Wayne sang about?
Objection, compound.
That's the same question.
Did, from your listening of Lil Wayne's music, did he sing about Cash Money Records?
Yes.
Is that the record label of Brian or Birdman Williams?
Yes.
Also, in Rich Gang, is there a gentleman, if you know, part of that group named, I'm going to give you the stage name, the performer name, Rich Homie Quan?
Yes.
And is he also a musical performer?
Yes.
And is Jeffrey Williams or Young Thug part of Rich Gang?
Yes.
And the three of them got together, and that's what Rich Gang is, true?
Yes.
And that's the musical group.
Yes.
And you're wearing, and it's now here, and thank you so much, Ms. Hilton, 12U, states 12U is on the screen. And is that one of the merchandise that Rich Gang sells to promote their musical gang,
Yes.
musical group? And it says Rich Gang, right?
Yes.
Okay, and there's 5 stars, right?
Yes.
You went through all this already.
Yes.
All right, you can remove it, but thank you so much. With regards to Mr. Williams, number 24, that we were discussing this in that approach. Let's see. What you saw yesterday for so.
Yes.
Just do me a favor, just look at this, and it's I can show you in color if you need it. But this is something you saw yesterday, right?
Yes.
That's number 24, I believe, Mr. Williams. Is my handwriting good enough? Is it number 24?
My name's Stevens.
What'd you say?
My name's Stevens, Mr. Stevens.
What, I said Mr. Williams, exhibit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I write Mr. Williams, number 24.
About the. Can I ask my attorney a question, sir?
Say again?
Can I ask my attorney a question? Get my word from my side.
Yes, sir. Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Is that what you need? Okay.
Yes,
All
thank you.
right.
My bad.
No, that's fine. Can I ask you some question about Mr. Williams, number 24?
Yes.
Do you recognize the people in that photograph, in the exhibit?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where that where that photograph was taken?
No.
Okay. All right. Then we're going to move on. You can just leave it there unless it bothers you. I would like to ask you a couple of questions. About exhibit number 30, which I'm going to mark right now.
want to read out?
You may, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
May I approach, sir?
Yes, sir, you may.
May I approach you, Mr. Stephens?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm showing you what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 30. Just take a peek at that, if you don't mind. Tell me if you recognize that document.
If I seen it before?
Yeah.
Nah, but I'm familiar with what it's saying still, though.
Well, the judges don't make legal rulings. Just let's start. You may have answered the question. Have you seen that on Instagram previously?
No, not previously.
We'll move on. Number, I'd like to show you what I'll mark is Mr. Williams number 31. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may, sir.
Thank you, sir. May I approach you, sir?
Yes.
Show me what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 31. Take a look at that. Tell me whether you recognize that exhibit.
Do I know what it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
And have you seen photographs of that person before?
Yes.
And is what's in exhibit number 31 accurate to your understanding of how that person looks?
Yes.
And is it have any modifications or changes from what you know that person looks like?
No.
Does that, Mr. Williams number 31, accurately show the person depicted therein?
Yes.
And who is that person?
Lil Wayne?
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 31.
Any objection to defendant Williams 31?
Your Honor, I just asked whether the witness has actually seen that portion of the person's body that is depicted in defendant's 31 before making or not making. In other words, whether he's seen from the neck down.
Let me see it, please. Thank you, sir. Here. I'm not asking the foundation of what's in the picture, so.
I believe the foundation has been laid, Your Honor.
Then I asked why did the witness.
You need to lay a little more foundation because there's what's in the picture he's not spoken about, so that would be why you need to probably lay a little more.
In Mr. Williams number 31, is Mr. Carter or Lil Wayne wearing a shirt?
No.
Have you seen images of Mr. Carter or Lil Wayne not wearing a shirt in the past?
Yes.
Okay. And have you seen videos of Lil Wayne or Mr. Carter not wearing a shirt during performances?
I'm going back to a movie. That was my mind. A movie.
That's fine.
A movie he was in.
Okay. And on the totality, you said that you followed Lil Wayne a lot, right?
Yes.
Okay. And is it like Jeffrey, where if he's in something you are interested in looking at it?
Yes.
All right. And does Mr. Williams number 31, without the shirt of Lil Wayne, does that accurately depict just means show what Lil Wayne looks like?
Yes.
Okay. With all the tattoos?
Yes.
And you accurately, on your oath, recognize it?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move again.
Any further objection, madam?
No, Your Honor.
All right, defendant Williams 31 is admitted to be published as you see fit.
Okay, I just want to go through some of these. You have in front of you, if it helps you, it's on the screen too, but you could use the exhibit in front of you if that helps. I want to go through some of the items that's shown in number 31. Now, this is the same person that the jurors have heard about through your testimonial live. Is that fair to say? The person that you really like?
Yes.
The artist? And do you know his real name to be Dwayne Carter?
Yes.
And this is the same Mr. Carter you spoke about, who was under and worked with Brian Birdman Williams. Is that the same person?
Yes.
All right. Now, on this picture, Mr. Williams number 31, do you notice any tattooing of the face of Lil Wayne?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have tattoos on your face?
Yes.
And does Mr. Williams or Jeffrey?
Yes.
All right. Now, I'd like to specifically talk, if you don't mind, about the neckline of Lil Wayne. You see it in Mr. Williams number 31. Can you identify or see whether this is correct? Do you see some stars around the neckline?
Yes.
And how many stars do you count?
5.
And how many points are on the stars?
5.
And what color are the stars? And there may be multiple colors. You can name them all if you want. So what's a predominant color, if you think there is one predominant?
Red?
All right. Now, this gentleman is an entertainer. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And by entertainer, he does movies, right?
Yes.
He does social appearances like you went to go see him at he wasn't performing, but he's just appearing at a club, right?
Yes.
He does clearly music, fair to say?
Yes.
And he's one of the icons of music. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And he's been like that since he's been a child. Is that true?
Yes.
And he's still like that today.
Yes.
And do you know, if you don't know, that's fine, but do you know that he was born in the early 1980s?
I don't know about that.
Do you know if he's older than you? How about that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if he's older than Jeffrey?
Yes.
All right. Would you agree that he's approximately, and if you don't know, just say I don't know, a decade or 10 years rather, older than you and Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Okay. And he was already well-known, famous, and popular for music and other entertainment by the time you met Jeffrey in about 2007. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
When he has these stars around his neck, he also sings in some songs about gangs. Is that true?
Yeah, neighborhood and stuff. Yeah.
And that goes to entertainment as well, right?
Yes.
And his videos show things like red hats, 5-point stars. He sings about that. He shows it, right?
Yes.
It's entertainment, right?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
That's the same objections.
Is it entertainment to you?
Your Honor, objection is relevance and speculation as to the meaning or significance for.
That's the same objection, Mr. Scott.
Do you know whether Lil Wayne has ever won awards for his music and entertainment?
Objection, relevance.
That's the same objection.
Do you tell the ladies and gentlemen jury if it's part of, in your viewpoint, the American culture, this type of songs about gangs, 5-point stars, etc.?
Objection, relevance, speculation,
Is this?
That's the
foundation.
same objection.
Do you know other artists who also have tattoos of a bee with a red colored in?
Yes.
Do you know other artists? And we can say actors and professional sports people who show gang signs. What do you know to be gang signs?
They do movement of their hand,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, I cut you off. You said they do movement with their hands, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you seen sports figures, professional sports figures? Basketball, football, baseball. Have you seen them go like this with wiping their nose
Yes.
on national TV?
Yeah.
Have you seen at the Super Bowl performers playing and doing C's for the Crips?
Objection.
That's the same objection.
Have you seen tennis players? Do you know who Serena Williams is?
Yes.
Have you seen her at Wimbledon doing what's called a crip walk? Do you know what crip walk is, first of all?
I don't watch tennis.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kokomo. Through your understanding of your consumption, that means what you learn about, what you see, what you attracts you, your interest, is gang culture promoted via entertainment?
Yes.
You ever hear the expression studio gangster?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury what that means.
Somebody who rapping about, we're in the studio talking about gangster stuff.
Not for entertainment, right? It's for promotion.
Objection.
It's the same.
All right, so I was zoning out into another world trying to see if I could find a picture of D'Angelo White, which I was not successful in doing. But D'Angelo White was like, I feel bad because I understand the frustration, but the frustration was kind of like, it was funny to listen to. He kept asking over and over, why am I here? This isn't my case. And really was losing his temper with the fact that he had to be called as a witness at all. Now, he was called, he's currently in custody. He was asking just to be done and go back. He's not in custody for anything related to this case. He was a witness as something that DK Walter Murphy did, and they called him right before Walter Murphy took the stand. And I forgot that they didn't show him. I used to listen, like, and have the trials in the background, so I didn't always see people's faces anyway. But I tried to go find that so I could show you guys what he looked like. Can't do it because we can't find a picture of it. But I think he testified at the end of day 56 and the beginning of day 57. So either tomorrow or next weekend, we can do a rewind on him. Because I want to do a rewind on Walter Murphy. I was going to do that. I was going to do Walter Murphy after Detective Gaither. Because we've already done the Detective Gaither rewind. If you guys missed that, go check that out. But because of Munktunk and the plea deal, I was like, look, let's look back at Trontavious Stephens, because once we get Schardt up for cross-examination and Careton Matthews, you're going to see a lot of the same techniques that we just saw with Munktunk for cross-examination. So then I was going to do DK, but we could squeeze D'Angelo White in between if you guys want. I think we'll do that. Yeah, like he was, he was entertaining. I understand the frustration. I'm not trying to laugh at his frustration, but it makes me laugh. Like the way he just said it so boldly in court. And while we're paused, I do want to shout out Aries1. I hope you're still in here. Aries1 had sent a $5 Cash App saying you're doing a great job. Thank you, with the green heart. Shout out to the green hearts. I love how that's gotta be like becoming one of the most chosen heart emojis now because of this trial. And then shout out to Steph K. You said that was your last one, another gift ago. Well, thank you so much for gifting another one. Shout out to Steph JK. Everybody show Steph some love in the chat. Yeah, and that's it. Like, he was definitely a character. And Flesh of the God says he did not want to be there, but he was the one who called 911 for Halfhead. Don't call him Halfhead. No. Yeah, like absolutely a necessary witness to talk about that incident. But yeah, so we will check that out. Let's get back over to our guy Trontavious Stephens here.
Do you know who LeBron James is?
Yes.
All the green
Tell ladies and
stuff,
gentlemen,
love.
who LeBron James is.
NBA player.
Okay. And have you seen him do the wiping of the nose and say slime?
No.
Okay. I'd like to show you what I'm going to mark as Mr. Williams number 3-1, I believe.
Go ahead, 31. 31.
31. May I approach 1 second, Your Honor?
Yes.
Stevens, may I see what I marked as 31? May I approach? Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I messed up your note. Okay. I'm going to show you what I'll mark as Mr. Williams number 30. 33.
You may, sir. Yes.
May I approach you, sir? This is number 33. Mr. Wayne, just take a look at that, orient yourself to it. Now I'm going to ask you similar questions. Tell me if you recognize it.
Yes.
And how do you recognize what is marked as Mr. Williams number 33?
I recognize the Instagram name, the place, and the two people that they talk referring to.
And have you seen this on Instagram when it came out or thereabouts? If you remember.
No, I don't remember. May have.
Understood. On the date that it came out, do you see the date at the very bottom?
Yes.
You're not in custody yet, right? Remember you told the jurors you were in custody about October 2014?
Yeah.
So this before October 2014?
Yes.
Do you know if you went to this event, if you can remember?
No, I don't know.
Okay. From you are seeing this, have you seen this item that was put on Instagram by the person who put it on? Have you seen that before? Have you seen this before?
Man, it's a flyer. I done seen several flyers, so may have.
One more time.
It's a flyer promoting, so I may have.
You're not sure?
No, I mean I may have.
May have.
I've seen a lot of flyers.
Okay. Well, with that, Your Honor, I'm going to move for the admission number 33.
He said he may have, he doesn't know.
Okay.
I'm going to sustain the state's objection.
All right, let me show you number 34. May I approach?
You may, sir.
May I approach you?
Yes.
I'm showing you Mr. Williams number 34. Tell me if you recognize that.
Yes.
And how do you recognize number 34?
Guys, I think because Flesh of the Gods is going to do a rewatch of some cross-examination from the day 30s, and Steele is going to go over, I said it was going to feel like a bit of deja vu for what Steele's going to do here. I mean, Steele's really honing in on lots of pictures of young Thug wearing blue instead of the red. And then even when he comes back with what we're watching now, it's going to be a lot of like people wiping their nose and those same things that also got introduced and rediscussed through Moonk. So if you guys are all calling the audible and you want to move forward to when Schardt, D'Angelo, Miss DeWilliams does some a quick cross, Schardt, Careton Matthews, and Bruce Harvey. If you guys want to jump ahead to them, I think we could wind this up right around 9 o'clock. That's an hour, about 40 minutes from now, and head over to Flesh of the Gods stream about, I don't know what witness was day 31 and 33, but it's going to be cross-examination, so I know it'll be good. If you guys want to skip the deja vu, we'll do that. So let's do that. Let me switch over to day 19. It started off with a, they had to approach for issues with Steele, trying to show all these pictures of, you know, talking about celebrities, asking about celebrities, big evidentiary issues. And then let's get caught up. And they're color coordinating again. That looks navy blue and navy blue if you ask me. All right, so Schardt's going to be up. So we'll jump to Schardt's cross. But Steele went through the same thing. Like, Jeffrey Williams never told you to do this stuff. He was trying to help you out. Other people are doing the nose thing. A lot of the same stuff we saw him finish out with Moonk. And thank you so much, you guys. Turning back over here, and I see... Now, do you do Treat as your name, or TRT? Or maybe it's Tart, or Tort. Or should I say something different every time? You say, can the defense move for mistrial with prejudice on the basis that Whitaker is helping the state make sustainable objections? She never helps the defense. So, okay, this is actually a thing, and it's a really tricky issue on appeal because it's judicial discretion, right? But if there's substantial lien, if the discretion is always applied in one direction and one direction only, it can become an issue. But then it would, if it's a questionable issue, did it cause harm? So technically, it could be an appealable issue. I don't think they can move for a mistrial. They'd really want to have a specific reason to move for a mistrial, like a specific objection that was overruled and then something was allowed to get in front of the jury that never should have been allowed to have been asked or said. But I think as an appeal issue, it's a hard hill to climb. But if you can show, and I guess there'd probably be a lot of examples on a trial of this length, that judicial discretion was substantially abused, applied incorrectly, applied with a continuous and unfair lien, it could be an appellate issue. I still think they have way bigger appellate issues than that one, however. And I would not want to be reading that appeal. I do not want to see how many pages this appeal will be if it comes down to that. So thank you so much for the $9.99. And then FFS, do I use a Kleenex or your sleeve or your index finger? Hold on, I have my tissues handy here. Haven't really needed them except for that stream where we kept hearing Glanville blow his nose into the microphone and we kept showing the tissue box every time. Good to see you, FFS. So we'll do that. Let's see how Schardt does. We'll start at 1.5, and if it's too fast, you guys know the drill. Just let me know. Oh, this is a louder one. Sorry.
Stephens. Just a couple more questions, okay? We were talking about, I believe it's 16U, your plea agreement.
We're going to slow that.
Right?
Yes.
And on that plea agreement also talks about increased notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL. Were those your words?
No.
Okay. Were those words of whoever wrote this document?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Stephens, since you've been released from jail, you're doing better, correct?
Yes.
You have a job?
I had one before this.
I understand. You were earning, you're out of the life of crime?
Yes.
Okay. When you were committing crimes, those were for your benefit, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, this is covered.
That's asked and answered. I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Thank you, sir. All right,
Shoot, did I mess up? Did he start before the break? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I messed up. I was like, I know his cross was not that short. There's Steele. My bad. Why did they make him start just to take that long break? So we'll rewind. We'll get it all in. There we go, my bad.
May it please court, Your Honor. Mr. Stephens, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Max. My name is Max Schardt. I represent Shannon Stillwell. Okay?
Yes.
Do you know Shannon Stillwell?
Yes.
And you identified him in court 2 weeks ago, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you grow up together with Mr. Stillwell?
No.
Okay. You said that you were raised on Cleveland Avenue, correct?
Yes.
To your knowledge, was Shannon raised on Cleveland Avenue?
No.
If you know, do you know where Mr. Stillwell was raised? If you know.
I think Thomasville.
One more time?
I'm not sure. I think Thomasville, though.
Thomasville?
Yeah.
And is that an area of Atlanta?
Yes.
Where is that? Is it off of Boulevard?
No.
By Grant Park?
It's like by Moreland Avenue.
Okay, Moreland Avenue?
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a separate neighborhood than Cleveland Avenue?
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, you spoke a couple weeks ago about people being members of Rock Crew. Did you ever know Shannon Stillwell to be a member of Rock Crew?
No.
Did you know him to be an associate of Rock Crew?
I already answered that.
An associate? What is your answer? I'm sorry.
I answered that. She asked me, Miss Love asked me the same question.
Okay, and your answer was no? Is it?
I answered, I said, if that means going to a club together, yes.
Okay, so your answer is, you said that you were a member of Rock Crew.
Right.
And you've been to a club with Shannon before?
Right.
Okay, all right. Do you recall when you first got to know Shannon, what year?
Probably 14, 13.
Okay. Now, you testified last week that you were in jail at the end of 2014, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Was that, did you know Shannon prior to going to jail that time or after?
I knew him before prison. That's why it was so easy for me to know.
Okay. All right. Now, Mr. Stephens, you testified over the last few days that you've been on the stand that you have committed crimes before, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And your testimony isn't that you're innocent of everything that you've ever been accused of, is it?
Say that one more time.
Have you been guilty of some crimes in the past?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to ask you about a couple of those instances, okay?
Yes.
All right. Now,
Your Honor, and if this isn't as to certifies that have been admitted or tendered or things that have already been admitted as evidence, I don't have any objection. But I'd like for Mr. Schardt to at least identify to the state anything that he intends to ask or
you all
inquire.
come on up for a second, please.
okay.
Dun dun dun. The way that court audio still changed every day back in the day.
Mr. Stephens, you ready?
No, we're good.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry. Mr. Stephens, you were charged in this indictment we're here for today, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And once you were charged with the indictment, you were able to become familiar with the indictment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were charged in count 1, which was the RICO, conspiracy to violate the RICO Act, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But also, as part of the indictment, it alleged several past crimes that you committed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk to you about, first of all, Overt Act 1, which was Fulton County Case 13 SD 116787. It happened on January 25th, 2013. By that date, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, it involves you allegedly, and you pled to this, committing aggravated assault on a police officer.
Yeah.
Are you familiar now?
Yes.
Okay. That happened in the apartment, or the parking lot of an apartment complex at 2616 Old Hateville Road, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you were charged with aggravated assault and possession of firearm by a convicted felon, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we heard earlier a lady came in and testified about how.
Your Honor, I object as to rule sequestration and testifying.
I'm saying this form. What's your grade?
Okay. There was a stolen car in the apartment complex that day. Are you now aware of that?
No.
Did you know that on that day?
No.
Did you know anything about a stolen car?
No.
Did you take any part in robbing someone or carjacking someone in Noonan, Georgia?
No.
Okay. And you were never charged with that, correct?
No.
And you have never admitted any guilt in that?
No.
Correct. Okay. Now, let's go back to the apartment where that you now know that a stolen car was in that parking lot, correct?
Yeah.
And you know that because you ended up being charged in that case back in 2013, and your lawyers told you about that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That apartment complex, were you living there?
No.
Who was living there?
Associate.
Okay. And at some point, did you notice people seated in a car in the parking lot of that apartment complex?
Yes.
Okay. How long were they there?
Long enough to wonder who they were.
And how far were they from your associate's front door?
Maybe to that door right now, the courtroom door.
To the back courtroom door?
Yeah.
Okay, for the purpose of the record, is it about 25 yards? Is that fair?
I haven't let the door in.
Okay, fair enough. So you notice men, and how many men were there?
2.
Okay, and they were in a car in the apartment complex?
Yeah.
Parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you take note of that car?
Because they was acting weird. They had on black hoodies. They was just being weird.
Were they wearing police uniforms?
No.
Okay. What were you concerned of?
My safety. My safety.
Okay, could you explain specifically why those men sitting in that car made you concerned for your safety?
I was selling drugs at the time, and I was trying to protect my money, me, and my drugs.
Okay. And I think I know where you're going with this, but could you spell it out? What were you concerned those men were doing or planning to do?
Anything that can harm me. I don't know.
Does that include robbery?
Yes.
Does that include armed robbery?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you said they weren't wearing police uniforms. Did you know they were police at the time?
No.
Okay. So when you saw these men outside, sitting in the car outside of your associate's door, what did you do?
I asked them if they could roll down their window.
Okay. Were you initially in the apartment building, the unit?
I was in like the hallway of it.
Okay. And so did you walk out and approach the men?
Yeah, not all the way up to their car though, from a distance.
Okay. And were you armed?
Yes.
Okay. With a handgun?
Yes.
Okay. When you approached, how did that go?
I did like this to ask them, can they roll their window down?
Okay. And what happened?
They just were looking.
Okay. Did they eventually roll the window down?
No.
Okay. What happened next?
I pulled out my gun and like placed it on my side of my leg.
Okay. And how far were you away from the car when you did this?
A distance.
Okay. And what happened next?
He reached over and grabbed his walkie-talkie, and then I knew he was the police.
He being who?
The person that was in the truck.
The driver or the passenger?
The driver.
Okay. And you said when he reached and grabbed the walkie-talkie, what did you realize then?
That he was the police.
How did you know it was police then?
Because he had a walkie-talkie and he put it towards his mouth.
Okay. And when you realized it was the police, well, let me ask you this. Before that happened, before you realized it was the police, did you ever point the gun at either of them?
No, I never pointed the gun.
Did you ever flash any gang signs?
No.
Did you ever say anything gang related?
No.
You said you were concerned about being robbed, victim of an armed robbery by these unknown men, correct?
No, I had all types of signs.
Did this have anything to do with a gang?
No.
Okay. And when you realized it was the police, what did you do?
I didn't stand my ground. I took off running.
You said you did not stand your ground?
No.
Okay. And where did you run?
To the nearby woods.
And what did you do with the gun?
I threw it.
Did you ever shoot the gun?
No.
Did you ever point the gun at anyone?
No.
Look at the men seated out here as defendants. Did this case have anything to do with any of these men seated out here?
No.
Were any of them present at the apartment complex with you?
No.
Did this case have anything to do with Rock Crew?
No.
Did it have anything to do with YSL?
No.
This happened in 2013, correct?
Is that what the date say?
And were you charged at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you pled to aggravated assault and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, correct?
I don't think I was a convicted felon at the time. I think that was my first time being arrested. As I do, I don't know.
And that may be my fault, Mr. Stevens. And it is my fault. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what's marked State's Exhibit 11A. Recognize that?
Yes.
Is that your plea form? Or a certified conviction from that case?
Yes.
And you were correct. You were convicted of aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You accepted responsibility?
Yes.
You did your time for that case?
Yes.
Okay. Back in 2013, did the state ever charge you with gang charges regarding this incident?
No.
Did they ever charge you with RICO or conspiracy to violate RICO back in 2013?
No.
TRT, thank you so much. You know, I did see your other chat where you said it was TRT, so I had locked that in. But TRT says, also, I don't understand how Whitaker let Love question Sledge for 3 days when it was estimated as 3 hours, but is now telling the defense to get to the point in their cross-examinations. That really had my gears grating and my blood pressure rising. Honestly, I felt like it started to give me a headache. But yeah, telling the defense to get to the point in their cross-examinations, especially when the state is objecting to every, and you know what? We are going to keep going with this, but I do want to show an awesome compilation from I'm Not a Lawyer. But, and make sure you follow her. Her name is Mel, so on X she goes by You've Got Mel. But she did a great compilation of exactly what that sounded like. So let's look at that. This is exactly what TRT is talking about right here. Make it bigger. So I'm going to pull this down.
You know what that means? Two parts of America.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor, there is no year of 2015, as Mr. Still has suggested, unless I'm missing it. If you could just show me, I'd be okay.
First of all,
Yes.
do you know who that person is?
Broadway.
On Cleveland.
Objection. Objection, relevance. Objection, speculation.
Oh my God.
Sustained.
Objection, improper question. Objection.
You know what that means? Know about that.
Objection one, that calls for speculation. Two, I can approach, Your Honor.
Okay, I mean, that one does not call for speculation, but if you have some other issue.
I don't need to approach, Your Honor. I'm going to continue.
Approach, Your Honor, because I have an objection that I need to put on the record.
Okay.
I would rather not stop because that's all Ms. Love does. I'd rather continue. I'll waive that.
We're gonna approach. You could focus a little less on the fact that y'all get on each other's nerves, okay?
So great compilation. I'm going to post it again in the chat. Shout out to I'm Not a Lawyer But or Mel, or You've Got Mel if you want to follow her on X. This is the compilation here. Super, a great compilation, great commentary on X, but I also love her channel. So when I start replaying this Trontavious Stephens clip, I'll get her link to YouTube as well. Does great short recaps, and great commentary. Like, just she's super nice too. She's been on a like panel show here. Just love her all around. But back to TRT. That's exactly what it was. Just the state objecting to every single question, and those objections she kept asking to approach with. So it's not just a quick one and done, move it along. It was a, hey, let's spend another 10 minutes doing a sidebar because I don't want Steele to be able to ask a question. And it's one thing, object when it's fair, but when you're objecting and trying to come up with a whole laundry list of objections to try to launch, and none of them are actually a valid objection to what the question was, and then the judge comes in with an assist because you missed the one that maybe could have applied and gives you the assist so that way the objection can actually be sustained. It does not seem fair in one bit. So thank you so much, TRT, for the support and for the rant opportunity. Thank you. That is such a good compilation that I will watch again later and enjoy very much. Back to Tick, I think that was this stream, right? There we go. Back to Schardt.
It wasn't until 2022 that the state made out those allegations that this was related to a gang, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Stephens, you were candid with us a couple weeks ago talking about your past drug dealing, correct?
Yes.
You admitted to selling drugs, correct?
Yes.
And you also indicated that you knew other people that you associated with YSL that have sold drugs in the past, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about your drug dealing first, okay?
Yes.
We talked about the circumstances of your upbringing in Cleveland Avenue, correct?
Yes.
In your estimation, you know,
Yes, Mr. Matthews.
Careton called a sidebar there. Let's catch when they come back, because it looks like they asked a couple more questions before that long recess.
All right, Mr. Schardt, go ahead, sir.
need Mr. Stephens. Mr. Stephens, I was about to ask you about, especially around the time, I'd like to ask about the time when you were little. Were there a lot of drugs in that area as you were growing up?
Yes. Yes.
Were there a lot of drug dealers?
Yes.
Okay. And this amount of drugs in the area, that existed before Rock Crew, correct?
Yeah.
That existed before YSL, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What years approximately, or how many years would you say that you sold drugs?
I really can't give you no approximate because I was back and forth in jail.
Is it fair to say more than 1 year?
Yes.
Okay. And generally speaking, what kind of drugs did you sell?
Weed, pills.
Okay. And you ever hear the term weight or moving weight?
Yes.
Okay. And that's used to describe a large amount of drugs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you describe when you were selling drugs? And you're not selling drugs anymore, correct?
Correct.
All right. When you were selling drugs, would you describe it as large amounts or more smaller hand-to-hand transactions?
Oh, mine?
Yes.
Man. Nickel and dime. You know, yeah.
Petty?
Yes.
Okay. Would you sell in all areas? Did you have a specific spot where you sold, or did it change from time to time?
Yeah, it changed.
Okay. I believe that you indicated on direct that you have sold before at a couple of the gas stations in Cleveland Avenue.
Excuse me. Yes, sure.
It's okay. And are those the only places you've ever sold drugs?
No.
Okay. In your experience, is it common that drugs are sold at gas stations?
Yes.
Gas stations have a lot of foot traffic, correct?
Yes.
People tend to congregate in the Cleveland Avenue area. Do they tend to congregate at gas stations?
Yes.
Okay. And if the police show up, you can flee from a gas station, correct?
Yes.
It's not like a house where you're linked to that one location, correct?
All right.
Are those all things that make it advantageous to sell at a gas station?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to, Your Honor, may I approach? I'm going to show you what's already been marked and admitted as States 16 view.
Come on, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Stephens, do you recognize that document?
Yes.
And what is that document?
My plea?
Is that your plea agreement?
Yes.
Okay, and that contains factual acknowledgments that you initialed as part of your plea, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If I may approach one more time. Okay. I'm also going to show you what's been marked 157N and 82J. Do you recognize what those two pictures are of?
Yes.
Okay, and what is 82J a picture of?
Gas station?
Is that the gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue?
Yes.
That's a Exxon?
Yes.
Okay. And that Exxon, is that a place where people in Cleveland Avenue would congregate to sell drugs?
And do other stuff too, yeah, just chill, yeah.
Okay. And other stuff. Is there foot traffic at that location?
Yes.
Was that location close to your house?
Yes, you can walk to my house from there, yeah.
Okay. How about 157N? Is that a picture of 221 Cleveland Avenue?
Yes.
And that's the blue chevron, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and again, is that a location where many people would sell drugs?
And hang out too, yeah.
And hang out. And is it fair to say that there's lots of foot traffic in that gas station?
Yes.
And that is close to your house, correct?
I can walk to it, yeah.
Okay. In the years that you lived at Cleveland Avenue, is it fair to say that there were hundreds of drug dealers that had sold at each of those locations throughout the years?
Yeah, you can say how many, yeah. I mean, yes.
Okay.
How many?
At the times that you personally sold drugs at these locations, is it a situation where you're the only one selling drugs at that gas station at that time, or are there other people also selling?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yeah, other people.
Other people. And are we talking about other people that are working with you, or other people that are doing their own hustle at the same time as you?
Yeah, other people that are doing their own thing.
So you don't have, if I understand you correctly about these gas stations, you don't have exclusive rights to these gas stations.
No, how? No.
Okay. So other people can come and sell drugs there as well, even if you're already there.
Yeah.
And you can come sell drugs there, even if someone else is already there.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what? Well, let me ask you to look at 16U. That is your and just to help you out, Mr. Stephens, that's the plea agreement. Okay. Could you look at factual acknowledgement number 12?
Yeah.
Okay, and factual acknowledgement number 12 says, the gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue is a location where YSL associates sell drugs. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you've already acknowledged that you sold drugs there, correct?
Yes.
And I think that you indicated that another gentleman who's now deceased named Darius Ford sold drugs there as well.
Yes.
In the past.
Yes.
Okay. And you, in your estimation, he was associated with YSL.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so number 12, from what you're telling us, is true. That the gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue is a location where YSL associates sell drugs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does this statement number 12, does it say only YSL associates are allowed to sell drugs at 151 Cleveland Avenue?
No.
Okay. If it said only YSL associates are allowed to sell drugs at 151 Cleveland Avenue, would that be true?
Objection, Your Honor, as to vagueness.
If the acknowledgement stated that only YSL associates could sell drugs at that location, would that be true?
Objection as to vagueness.
Speculation starts with
Do people in your life on Cleveland Avenue, in your familiarity with 151 Cleveland Avenue, did you know people who have nothing to do with YSL that have sold drugs at 151 Cleveland Avenue?
Yes.
Several people?
Yes.
Multiple people?
Yes.
Does harm come of them when they sell drugs at 151 Cleveland Avenue?
No.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about factual acknowledgement 13. Gas station at 221 Cleveland Avenue is a location where YSL associates sell drugs. Now, you've already told us about you and Big, so that is true, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is that, I'm going to ask the same thing, is that location, from your experience growing up in the area and selling drugs in the area, is that a location where only YSL members are allowed to sell drugs?
No.
If someone who is not at all associated with YSL or Rock Crew or anything else sells drugs there, does harm befall them?
No.
Okay. Why did you sell drugs?
I'm too lazy to get a job.
Does it go back to what Mr. Steele, Attorney Steele, was asking you a couple weeks ago about wanting fast money as opposed to taking your time and trying to earn the money? Okay. Do you view selling drugs as wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. Did selling drugs give you money to provide for yourself at certain times?
Yes.
And what about your family?
I don't know, life-changing money, but Yeah.
Is it fair to say it was a way to get by?
I didn't even reach that point to get by yet, but it was.
Now, in a typical, well, the money that you received from selling drugs, you testified approximately 2 weeks ago that you never gave Jeffrey Williams any money. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And that includes any of the proceeds you got from selling drugs, correct?
Yes.
You never gave any of that to Jeffrey?
No.
Okay. Did you have any agreement with any of these gentlemen in the courtroom to split money or share proceeds from selling your drugs?
No.
Who got the money from you selling your drugs?
Me.
Was it your own individual decision?
Yes.
Did anyone put you up to it?
No.
Did anyone tell you to stand at 151 Cleveland Avenue?
No.
What about 221 Cleveland Avenue?
No.
Did you sell drugs to increase the notoriety of YSL?
Yes, I did.
To increase the notoriety of YSL? That was your purpose?
Yeah.
Okay, how does that increase the notoriety of YSL?
I already answered your question.
Do you know what I mean by notoriety?
I said, it made me look good. It made me look like I was getting money. I said I was, though.
Okay, so you sold drugs to increase the notoriety of you. Okay, now I'm going to ask you, did you sell it to increase the notoriety of anyone else?
What? I said, I did those things without permission, without anybody saying it, but that was why I was doing it, though.
To do what?
Increasing notoriety.
Of who?
Of YSL. But anybody tell me to do it, though.
Okay. What about, okay. How about other people? Why would they be selling drugs?
Objection, speculation.
If you know, has anyone told you? Okay. Has anyone told you? Has anyone told you their reasons for selling drugs?
Objection, that would be hearsay.
I didn't ask what they said. I asked if anyone told them. Okay. Let's talk about firearms. Selling drugs, would you consider that a dangerous profession?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it a dangerous profession?
Selling drugs?
Yes.
Because it's illegal.
Okay. Any other reasons?
It's a lot of reasons, huh?
Do you become a target for robberies?
It's a lot of reasons, yeah.
Is that one of the reasons?
Yeah, that's possible.
When you sell drugs, people tend to pay in cash, correct?
Yes.
And when you're selling the drugs, you have the cash on you, correct?
Yes.
And you also have the drugs on you, correct?
Yes.
And that drugs are worth money. People want the drugs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you're robbed selling drugs, can you just go to the police? Do you typically do that?
No.
Okay. As a potential robbery victim, when you're selling drugs, did you tend to keep a firearm on you?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the purpose for you to keep a firearm on you when you were selling drugs?
To protect me, to protect my drugs, to protect my money.
Okay. So you weren't carrying a firearm for any other purposes than to protect you and your things, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you were in possession of a firearm when selling drugs, you weren't doing it for any of these gentlemen here, correct?
No.
It was for you.
Yes.
No one told you to do that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And let me just go back to selling drugs at all at these gas stations. You said did it give you a sense of you're doing something? People could see that you're doing something?
Yes.
People could see that you were making money even if it was illegal money?
Yes.
Is that what you mean by notoriety? It was giving you notoriety as
That's
someone
exactly what I meant. But you knew I meant that, though.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to make it clear. So it's giving you a personal sense of notoriety that you're out here making it happen.
Yeah.
Okay? Were you doing that for any of these gentlemen?
No.
Okay? Were you doing that to increase any of their reputations?
No.
It was personal for you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. possession of firearms in some of these cases, which you pled to, that was personal to you, correct?
Yes.
Your decision?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to just talk to you about a couple more specific cases. You're aware that in this indictment, you are accused of overt acts 48 through 50, which is Fulton County case 15 SC 135856 that happened on July 3rd of 2015. If I say the address, will you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
1813 Sylvan Road with Marquavius Gay in your car?
Yeah.
Do you know what case excuse me, do you know what case I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that's a gentleman that was in your car when the police stopped your car and eventually found drugs, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and Marquavius Gay, is he out here today?
No.
Okay. In that case, specifically that case, are any of the people that are in your courtroom today, no one was with you that day?
No.
Okay. And, Your Honor, if I may approach.
You may, sir.
I'm going to show you Mr. Stephens. States Exhibit 189O and 59G. And specifically, Mr. Stephens, I'm going to ask you about 189O first. Is that the certified conviction from the July 3rd, 2015 case with Marquavius Gay?
Yes.
Okay. And you were charged with possession with intent marijuana, possession oxycodone, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, DUI, and failure to maintain lane, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember why you were stopped that day?
Yes.
What was the reason that you were stopped?
Failure to maintain lane.
Okay. And when you were stopped, did the police approach your car?
Yes.
Did they end up searching the car?
Yes.
Okay. And were there narcotics found in the car?
Yes.
Okay. And what types of drugs were in the car?
Marijuana and pills.
Okay. And was there also a firearm?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Stephens, do you have any gloves?
Yeah, behind you.
In this case, on July 3rd of 2015, with Mr. Gay in the car, was that your car?
No.
Whose car was it?
I think it was one of the guys I was with. I don't know. I don't remember.
And were you driving?
Yes.
Do you remember that marijuana that was found in the car? Do you remember what was found?
Where?
Yes.
Yes.
It was under the passenger seat, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember how that marijuana was packaged?
Yep.
Was it in a jar, glass jar? Do you remember?
No, I think it was in like individual bags and then in a bigger bag.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get you. It was in a bigger bag. I want to talk to you about that bigger bag. Could you describe that bag? What material was that bag made of?
Cloth.
And do you remember what color that bag was?
Like tan.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you what's been marked State 57G, which was taken off you 12 days later. Okay? Separate stop.
All right.
Do you recognize this bag?
That's the same bag. I mean, yeah, I'm saying, is that bag?
Well, this was taken, well, we're going to talk about this bag in a second, but what I'm asking you is on July 3rd, the drugs that were in that car, were they in a bag identical to this?
Yes.
Okay, and whose bag was this?
Mine.
And whose bag was the bag on July 3rd?
Mine.
You had two of the same bag, is that correct?
Yeah.
And these are Louis Vuitton cloth bags?
Yeah. And for shoe.
Tan color, correct?
Yeah.
So on July 3rd, 2015, you were pulled over and the 34 bags of marijuana individually wrapped inside a cloth bag that looked exactly like that was yours, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you just give the jurors an idea of what the street value of that marijuana you had in that bag was?
This is so good.
And they were like $10 for each one of them.
So maybe $340 total?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe $340 total. This is how we're rounding up this RICO enterprise. Because this guy got pulled over, and he testified earlier that he felt like, cops are pulling him over all the time, even when he tried to get his life together. $340. Why he was roped up. And he had to plea. They said, you have all those past things we have on you. You had some drugs. They were RICO drugs, weren't they? $340. So, if you have not followed this trial from the beginning, this is what we're working with. And if you see comparisons to how this does not seem like a typical RICO trial, this is why. This is why. And shout out to that girl, Mia. So good to see you. Happy Saturday. Kat and my Brady RICO gang family. Heck yeah, glad you could be here. And Dolly, 3 months of membership. Holy moly. We're almost official. Drugs are bad, okay? Oh, I wish Q was in here. We could have Tavali in here. Good to see you, Dolly. But yeah, we are here for $340.
And you also had a small amount of cash on your person, correct? $130 about?
I guess so. You know what I say?
Okay, you don't recall?
That was 10 years ago, probably. Nah.
Understood.
However many years ago.
Okay. And the gun that was under the passenger, the gun was also under the passenger seat?
Yes.
Okay. And that was the gun you had because you were selling drugs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You pled guilty to possessing that marijuana, correct?
Yes.
And 4 oxycodone pills as well?
Yes.
And you also pled guilty to that gun, correct?
Yes.
You took responsibility?
Yes.
Okay. That incident on July, that's overt act 48 through 50 in this indictment. Did that have anything to do with any of these gentlemen back here?
No.
Okay. Did that have anything to do with Rock Crew?
No.
Did that have anything to do with YSL?
No.
Back in 2015, when the state charged you for this crime, did they charge you with any gang crimes?
No.
Did they charge you with RICO conspiracy at that time?
No.
You pled guilty to the charges that you were charged with, correct?
Yes.
You took responsibility and did your time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it wasn't until 2022 that the state alleged that any of this was gang-related or part of some RICO, correct?
As to when the state did what.
All right. I'd also want to ask you about overt acts 52 to 55 in this indictment, and that's 15 SC 136875, and that happened on July 15th of 2015, which means 12 days later than that last case, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and you remember being arrested for drugs and then getting out and then being arrested within 2 weeks, correct?
I cannot forget it.
Okay, and that happened at 2915 Macon Avenue, correct?
Macon Drive.
Macon Drive, correct? And who lives on Macon Drive? Right by 2915.
Somebody.
And that's fair. One of your family members?
Somebody.
Okay. In that case, who was in the car with you?
A female and Shannon.
Okay. My client, Mr. Stillwell?
Yeah.
Okay. And that female, was that your girlfriend?
No, female.
Okay. Was she?
Hilarious.
Was she related? Was she affiliated with you or Shannon?
Yeah, she was affiliated with me.
With you, okay. And in that case, you were charged with possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of firearm with an altered ID, possession of firearm during commission of a felony, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, failure to obey stop sign, and failure to maintain lane, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it fair to say that you were pulled over for failing to obey a stop sign?
Yes.
And failing to maintain lane? Okay.
Yes.
And you were driving?
Yes.
Okay. And where was Shannon in your car?
Backseat.
Okay. In that case, again, 12 days after the last case, drugs and a gun were also found, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in that case, is this bag where the drugs were packed?
Yes.
And this bag was under the front passenger seat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this bag was present in the car the day that Shannon was with you, correct?
Yeah.
But 12 days before, an identical bag had drugs in it and Shannon was not with you.
Yes.
In this case, the second case, the one with Shannon, do you remember how much marijuana and/or pills were in the bag?
No.
Okay. To your recollection, was it weight or was it a petty amount?
Petty amount.
Objection as to the vagueness of the word petty.
Was it a matter of grams of marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. Were the drugs worth thousands and thousands of dollars?
No.
Less than that?
Yes.
Okay. And you pled to the drugs in this case?
Yes.
And you pled to the gun in that case, correct?
Yes.
Those drugs that were in that tan bag under the passenger seat on July 15th, 2015, those are your drugs?
Yes.
Did Shannon have any ownership of those drugs in any way?
No.
Did anyone else here own those drugs in any way?
No.
Did anyone have a claim to the proceeds of those drugs other than you?
No.
Okay, and same thing back in 2015 when you were charged with this case, you pled guilty and you served your time, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and back in 2015, the state never charged you with gang crimes in this case.
No.
They never charged you with a RICO conspiracy in this case.
No.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Stephens, and we're almost done, okay? To look at 16U again. Okay, and that's the plea agreement that you signed on December 29th of 2022, correct?
Excuse me, yes.
Excuse me.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, and you signed that plea agreement after being held at the Fulton County Jail, Light Street, for 7 months, correct? About 7 months?
Think so, yeah.
And as part of this plea agreement, you were allowed to go home?
9 months. Well, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Stephens, do you have any legal training, you personally?
No.
No. Okay. The factual acknowledgments that you initialed, do you remember those?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Did you type them up?
No.
Do you know who typed them up?
That person, excuse me, no.
Okay. Could you go to page 1 at the top? Do you see a like a company logo at the top of that document?
Yeah.
Okay, and whose logo is at the top of that document?
District Attorney, Atlanta Judicial Circuit.
So that plea agreement has the insignia of the Fulton County District Attorneys on it?
Yes.
Okay, and who's the name on the left side of that document? The top left.
Excuse me.
Fannie T. Willis?
Bonnie Willis?
Yes.
Does it say her title on that document? Does it say District Attorney?
Yes.
Okay.
Schardt loves calling out Bonnie.
Now, whomever prepared this document, when you received the document, was it your understanding that you could, was it your understanding that it was okay to refuse to initial
Hold on.
those acknowledgments?
My bad. What the first part was?
When you received those documents
Yeah.
on December 29th, was it your understanding that you could just refuse to initial certain acknowledgments?
No.
You had to initial all the acknowledgments, correct?
Yes.
For the plea to go through?
Yes.
For you to go home?
Yes.
Okay. Could you look at factual acknowledgement 1 for me?
140?
1, number 1.
Yeah.
Factual acknowledgement 1 says, Young Slime Life, aka YSL, is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who share common identifiers that include but are not limited to colors, hand signals, and terminology, who have committed crimes intended to increase the notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL. So, and you initialed that on December 29th of 2022, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just break that down a little bit. 3 or more members or associates. The number 3, was that a number that you came up with and told the state, make sure you put 3 in there because that means something to me?
No.
3 or more, was it your words or whomever wrote the document?
Whoever wrote it?
Okay. What about, do you go around, in your everyday life and wherever in Atlanta you are, whether it's Buckhead, Cleveland Avenue, Moreland Avenue, do you use the word common identifiers a lot?
No.
Are those even terms you use, common identifiers?
No.
Okay. In Defendant's Factual Acknowledgements 1, which you initialed, it uses the term associates who share common identifiers. Were those your words?
No.
Okay, what about, and going back to Acknowledgement 1, but are not limited to colors, hand signs, and terminology. Are those your words?
No.
Mr. Schardt, before you pose another question, it's about the lunchtime hour, and I know I've been asked to take a comfort break, so this might be the time to accomplish both goals. Okay? All right, Mr. Stephens.
So Schardt only had a couple questions when he came back. And then we do have a bit from Careton Matthews. It's like 40 minutes total, and we're watching on 1.5. And then after that, we're going to go over to Flesh of the Gods channel. He's doing another YSL rewind. So we'll redirect over there in about, I guess on 1.5, it'll be like 30 minutes plus me trying to get my timestamp right here. So we'll see. I do also, and shout out to JT. JT, we're going to watch this because it's worth it. Law and Crime, September 4th, 2024, at the 7-hour and 13-minute mark. BBL Brown, because that's 88 Brown's nickname out here on YouTube, was laughing so hard when Love was getting admonished. And the jury wasn't back yet. This is when they were coming up with the instructions. But he's laughing, and the girl next to him at the table, I don't know her name, is like trying to cover her mouth. Yeah, we're going to watch this. We queued this up. Thank you for the timestamp, JT. Good stuff here. So we have a little segue. This is our lunch break, and we'll get back to Schardt.
You should be banned from asking any more questions ever for the rest of the.
Well,
for the rest of the
reasonably
trial.
speaking, though.
That may be going a little bit too far. But that's already been asked for, by the way. And that the court, in giving these instructions, intends to rebuke the state for asking for eliciting that improper testimony.
So, Your Honor, it wasn't improper testimony.
Okay.
It was the question.
Improper.
And look at him looking down like, you're really trying to fight this right now. Just take the L. She's like, really? And even you could see his eyebrow in the back here. He's wearing the mask. You can't see his face, but the way his eyebrow was moving, you could tell he was laughing when they were looking at each other. And this is perfect that it was Harvey raising or suggesting language, because the camera turned and panned this way for this to be captured. Oh my gosh, what a glorious, glorious gift to the world. This moment on day 122 to have Love rebuked. JT, thank you so much for the super chat and for bringing that timestamp, because that is just great. And I saw a cue that I need to look at. I have to see a Cash App and I'll understand. Let's see. And let me make sure, yeah, I don't do Cash App names. So this is Savvy Amira. So thank you so much. So we have the for your content with the green, and then please do not say my legal name on stream. I won't. But I think, is there a story? I'll look in the chat. You said you had a story. I want to make sure I don't miss it. And then TRT, thank you so much. TRT says the state's whole case is contingent on, and this is in quotes if you're just listening, guys, factual acknowledgments, initial and factual bases. Let's not forget, we just had an Alford plea factual bases read into the record. This is why this clip from the admonishment is part of why we had this rebuking. Only one of the reasons. The state's whole case is contingent on, quote, factual acknowledgments, initialed by desperate co-defendants, yep, and wholly written by the state. Really, I think these were written by Love. I hope the jury realizes that those, quote, factual acknowledgments are not more than the state's belief. I really hope so too, and I think it's telling to see so many people in the chat that did not watch the beginning of this trial to now see something like Trontavious Stephens' testimony and be like, holy moly, this is how we've gotten to day 124. Like, I think it's palpable. I thought it was noticeable before I really started watching with a crowd. I used to listen to the early days, and I had my eyebrows were raised a lot. If you guys go back on my channel, the first video I really did about YSL was on Trontavious Stephens' plea deal, because it pissed me off once I heard what was going on. It was like the boiling point for me. I'm like, this is enough. So Trontavious Stephens is like an important witness, like close to my YSL trial heart, for exactly the way you're laying it out. That's really where I started to see it all come together, exactly what you're saying. So TRT, thank you so much. That's been $100 that you've super chatted today. I appreciate that so much. And great thoughts along with it too, so that's even better. Thank you so much. And then, hold on, wait. I was about to replay this video. We're on a different video. Let me go back to... We're going to get the end of Schart's cross here. And... let me make sure. This might be when the jury's walking in. We can go ahead a little bit forward. Save some time so we can get over to Flesh of the Gods. It's always so... You know what? I'm going to do that thing where we arrow it forward. Because when it's a 7-hour stream, when I try to click, I always click way off from where I'm trying to click. Alright, so Schart's coming back up. And then thank you so much, Republic Tea Room, for being a member for 1 month. And we've got the emoji. You gotta be careful with emojis, guys. You gotta be careful with those emojis. We've got the hug, we've got the thumbs up, we've got a cheers. I don't drink often, but I might have a drink tonight. And we've got the scales, which, you know, the emoji has them balanced right now, but, you know, we're going to pretend that emoji is a little imbalanced. And we're going to keep calling out the things that would make it balanced as we see them. And FFS, thank you so much. FFS says, Kat, do what Loves does. Say the name and say sorry. No. You mean reading the curse words and then say sorry after I read them? Always a good time with FFS.
Your Honor, Mr. Stephens, just a couple more questions, okay? We were talking about, I believe it's 16U, your plea agreement, right?
Yes.
And on that plea agreement, also
Nick, my friend,
talks about increased notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL. Were those your words?
No.
Okay. Were those words of whoever wrote this document?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Stephens, since you've been released from jail, you're doing better, correct?
Yes.
You have a job?
I had one for this.
I understand. You were earning, you're out of the life of crime?
Yes.
Okay. When you were committing crimes, those were for your benefit, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. This is covered.
That's answered. I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Thank you, sir. All right, Ms. Williams?
afternoon, Mr. Stephens. I'm attorney Angela D. Williams. I represent Mr. Rodalius Ryan. Okay, so on January 4th, you say that you didn't know Rodalius Ryan, right? Yeah, say it out loud. Did we repeat the question?
Yeah.
Okay, so on January 4th, you say that you didn't know Mr. Ryan, right?
So I ain't knowing that well.
Okay, so you never hung out with him in the neighborhood?
No.
You never called him?
No.
You never DM'd him?
No.
You don't know him personally?
No.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
All righty.
Now, I love that because a lot of people have not really gotten to hear Miss DeWilliams. They don't really know who Rodalius Ryan is, Lil Ron. Her opening statement was like, have you guys ever heard of the show Bleach? Well, Bleach is an anime with like 1,000 episodes, and they're side characters that don't really make much of an appearance. Well, Rodalius Ryan is one of those side characters. He's in like 5 minutes of one episode of Bleach. And that was her opening statement. My words, of course, my paraphrasing. But they're stuck sitting through this whole trial really because they're roped in under this RICO charge. So,
Mr. Harvey or Ms. Westmoreland? Okay, all right. Mr. Matthews?
Yeah, sure. Thank Mr. Stephens, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You testified that you had a job before you actually turned yourself in back in May of 2022 on these charges, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you voluntarily surrendered yourself to the Fulton County Jail, correct?
Yes.
And when you were in that jail, you filed a motion for bond through your attorney, correct?
Yes.
But when you were in that jail, you didn't have a lot of choices in terms of how you could live your life when you were in that jail, in terms of what you ate, correct? What time to go to bed, correct?
Yes.
Using a cell phone, using a legal cell phone, correct?
Correct.
Taking a drive, correct?
Know where to drive.
Seeing your children. Yeah. All of the things that in the free world we could do, correct?
Yes.
Right. Now, your lawyers filed a motion for bond on your behalf, right?
Yes.
And there's at least 1 or 2 motions for bond that was filed, right?
Yes.
And when your lawyers filed that motion for bond for you, they told the court that you had turned yourself in, correct?
Yeah.
They told the court that you had entered a plea back in 2015, correct?
Yeah.
And that you had done your time, right?
Yeah.
They told the court that you had
Your I object to getting in with lawyers.
What's the basis now? Okay, all right.
I'll overrule it. Thank you. Mr. Stephens, do you remember the last question?
There you go again.
Okay. Your lawyers told the court that you were working, correct?
Yes.
They told the court that you had voluntarily submitted yourself to the jail.
Yes.
They told the court that you had children, right?
Yes.
They told the court that you had not been in any new charges or any new arrests since the 2015 when you took your plea, right?
Right.
That was all true, correct?
Yes.
You were living your life, correct?
Yes.
You were doing the things that were lawful and abiding in terms of the law, right?
Right.
And then you got indicted on these charges, right?
Yes.
And when your lawyer told the court all these great things about you to get you a bond, the district attorney's office, these people right here, they told the court that you were a flight risk, correct?
I'm going to object to relevance.
I sustain the objection.
Should you go to the interest?
I sustain the question.
Okay. You can rephrase the question?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you. Mr. Stephens.
Hey, my bad. You asked me a question.
Well, I'm going to move
Not
to...
question pending, sir, so he's going to ask you another, right?
Oh, he had one. Hold on.
Okay.
I want to answer it. Right, go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Stephens, when you were asking for that bond that we just got through talking about, the district attorney's office, they didn't want you to get a bond, correct?
Yes.
They wanted you to remain in jail, correct?
Yes.
And their wishes were met. Your bond was denied, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you continued to sit in jail for that period of time, correct?
Yes.
You sat in the jail for many days after that, right?
Yes.
Many weeks after that, right?
Yes.
And some months, right?
Yes.
And during that period of time, you were scratching your head trying to figure out how it was that you couldn't get a bond, right?
Objection, Your Honor, to one relevance thing.
Yeah, I sustain the objection to the former question.
Now, Mr. Stephens, you could not get out of jail, and then at some point, this 16U, this plea agreement came forth, right?
Yes.
And 16U that the jury just heard me talk about, you initial those various paragraphs of each one of those pages, right?
Yeah.
And I want to take you directly to 16U to paragraph 14 in the factual acknowledgments. Can we go there?
Yes.
Now, in paragraph 14 of factual acknowledgments, it states that defendant cannot truthfully assert that anyone charged in this indictment is not guilty of the crimes as alleged in this indictment, and defendant, you're the defendant that's in this document, right?
Yeah.
That you, the defendant, Trontavious Stephens, will make no attempt at trial, prior to trial, or after trial, to exonerate or exculpate anyone charged in this indictment of the crimes alleged in this indictment, and that defendant, still being you, Trontavious Stephens, will not claim that anyone on this indictment is not guilty of the crimes as charged in this indictment. Those were not your words, right?
Correct.
In your own mind, when you reflect on that paragraph 14, what does that paragraph 14 mean to you that it's saying?
I can't say nobody guilty or not guilty.
That you can't come into this courtroom, and that you can't come into this courtroom and say to this jury that anyone in this courtroom, anyone that's sitting in this courtroom as a defendant, you cannot tell this jury, even if you knew that they were not guilty.
I stand the objection.
You can't come into this courtroom, Mr. Stephens, and you're not allowed, you're prevented from saying that anyone who's charged is not guilty, correct?
Yeah.
And that paragraph says that you cannot truthfully say it, even if you wanted to say it, correct?
Yeah.
And you cannot claim that anyone is not guilty, correct?
Yeah.
You can't do it before this trial ever started, right?
Right.
You can't come in here now and say it, correct? And when you leave, even after this trial is over, you can't even come back later and say that anyone was not guilty who sits in this courtroom, correct?
Yes.
As defendants. And then you signed the plea agreement, right?
Right.
And when this same district attorney's office, when they said to you that you couldn't get out for a bond, this same district attorney's office came to you and told you that you could get out if you took a plea, correct?
Yeah.
And that was within a span of you being in custody for 7 months, right?
9, yeah.
9 months. Is it fair to say that they no longer thought that you didn't meet the conditions?
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
I stand the objection.
Now, changing gears, Mr. Stephens, you testified earlier that, just 1 second, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Just crazy. Sounds like Monktunk.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. And Mr. Stephens, Mr. Huey, I think you testified that you knew him from playing basketball at the court. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was pretty much it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Weinstein?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Stephens.
That's no.
My name is Doug Weinstein. I'm one of Diamante Kendrick's attorneys. I believe that you testified that you met Mr. Kendrick in elementary school. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then after elementary school, you didn't see Mr. Kendrick again until around 2012. Is that right? I know you're not necessarily good with years.
Yeah. I think I seen him after I got out of prison.
And Mr. Kendrick was not a member of Rock Crew, correct?
No.
Mr. Kendrick wasn't raised on Cleveland.
No.
Your plea deal doesn't mention Mr. Kendrick's name at all, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were selling drugs at 221 Cleveland, was Mr. Kendrick there selling drugs with you?
No.
And when you were selling drugs at 151 Cleveland, was Mr. Kendrick selling drugs?
No.
You testified about the web, 2531 Brownsville Road. Did you see Mr. Kendrick at the web?
No.
Are you aware of Mr. Kendrick being at the web?
I don't recall, no.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Shout out to Doug.
Okay, anybody else? Cross? Okay, all right. Any redirect from the state?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
And just so you know, this is how much time this is a... Oh, let me hide the comments so you guys can see. This is... We're 4 hours in, and the stream goes for another 3.5 hours. Now that it's passed back over to redirect. There's also... This is day 19. There's a day 20, and there's a day 21. There's a lot of arguments. It's not all just Stephens on the stand. But for her to get through her redirect, it takes the remainder of this day and 2 more days. Adrian Love, everybody. But yeah, so final note here. A friend of the channel, Big Baby Jane, is covering major medical costs. Her son is dealing with end-stage liver failure, and they're working with really good doctors to hope things can turn around for the better. So we have had their Cash App for Cameron pinned in the banner. It is Cameron, so CAMERONS, plural for Cameron's Medical. If you want to send a Cash App that way to help support, that would be super appreciated for this stream. I don't think I have it in me to do a part 4 of Trontavious Stephens just to go through Love's Direct. It was long. We got to watch the same thing with Woody, with Moonk and like you guys can probably already know. It would just be a bunch of repetition. So other than that, let me get the link to Flesh of the Gods, who is doing a YSL rewind currently to a witness back from day 31 through 33. This is set to redirect as well. But there is the link. Sometimes I'll end the stream and I think the redirect only works sometimes. I don't know what I'm doing wrong that it doesn't work consistently. And I also want to make sure I'm linking back over to Nick Starro, who I see has a stream today. And then I'm sure we'll have a stream. Did you get through? It says day 123. So I'm assuming maybe tomorrow Nick Starro will be doing a day 124 watch. He was getting caught up from traveling back home, back to Sweden after being in the United States. So my guess is he's doing a day 124 rewatch tomorrow. So you should subscribe to Nick anyway, for many reasons. Oh, not until Monday. Okay. But you can catch back up on his rewatch of what he thinks of day 122, which is the rebuking day, and 123 in the meantime. But I'm going to head over, when we end this, we'll get over to Flesh of the Gods. I want to thank you, everyone who, supported this stream today. Super fun to get together on a Saturday. And for the fact that you guys, while we're having fun, are also sending super chats, hitting that like button, and gifting memberships. Super appreciate that. Big shout out to Steph also for holding it down with great stories, and Charlie. We've got Charlie helping out too. TRT, FFS, Dolly, that girl Mia, JT, and I'll say Savvy Amira. We'll use the proper name. Touche, Martina, Black Butterfly. We've got Republic Tea Room. I keep wanting to say Coffee Room, but it's tea. Republic Tea Room. And we have actually some, let me see. I'm missing some, so wait. I didn't see these. Sorry, guys. Touche said, is getting to and sitting in court daily a relief from Rice Street or just different torture? Maybe better food. I think I've wondered that too. Like, it's got to be some type of decent food that they're ordering. Because I'm assuming the attorneys eat it too, right? It's probably ordered for the whole pool. I'm not exactly sure, but I would imagine it's got to be a nice break from whatever they're eating from commissary and what's being served. And I think 4 of the defendants are at Rice Street, and Jeffrey Williams, and I forget the other, they're not actually at Rice Street. So, not saying that it's much better somewhere else, but it does seem like Rice Street is known to be the worst, the nut juice place. So, I definitely think that this has to be some type of reprieve. But at the same time, sitting there listening to Love all day, probably a little bit torturous in its own way. Thank you so much, Touche. FFS says, Cat, God's honest truth, which means we're about to hear a lie. We ever get arrested, I'm snitching and singing like a bird. That's a whopper. Oh, well, good to know you wouldn't snitch on me. FFS the finesser. Thank you so much, FFS. Good to see you. And then TRT, go ahead. You can just chat it regularly if you want to ask another question, if you're still here. And no, so Tick's plea that we were talking about in direct and cross, that was not an Alfred plea. And let me do... Okay, thank you for doing the link. This is Flesh of the Gods link. Oh, wait, that was Nick's link. Okay, wait. The one I just sent was Nick's link. So this is Nick. And this is Flesh of the Gods. And I see some familiar faces since I have Flesh of the Gods stream up. I see very familiar faces. It's going to be a good time. You know, Politicking with Mel's over there. Kristen Vasquez, Tall Glasses over there. So I think the family, the YSL family's trickling in over there. And then TRT says, how do I get a message to the defense? I want to help them, but I know they're very busy. Okay, so the easiest, the official answer would be email the law firm. The law firm, like for example, if you were to go to the Steele Law Firm's website and follow their contact information, that's one way. And of course, there's several attorneys you can do that with. If you use X, Doug is very responsive on X. If you have an important message that you think, you know, it would be applicable to Doug Weinstein and you want to share it on X, if you use X, I know not everybody does. But tweet it to Doug, and, you know, if I see it, I can also hit the like button to make it more known. So this is Doug on X. And I'm trying to think, Max Schardt has started to get a little more active on X. This is Max on X right here. And I imagine Max isn't getting tagged quite as much as Doug is. So, and actually, since these are links, let me read it out loud. So Max's @name is Max Goddard, GODDARD 13. That's easier to find than trying to type Max Schardt sometimes. And Doug is... I think Doug is so popular now that when you type Doug Weinstein, it comes up, but it's Doug_Weinstein for his handle. So that's the easiest way to find them if you don't want to click all the links right now. And thank you so much, TRT. Any other way I can help you figure out how to contact them? And of course, like, I'll amplify something on X. I should probably share my own that way. If you do want to use X to send a message, you can loop me in or tag me in the thing that you're trying to get out there, and I can help you. So there you go, you guys. There you go. And again, we are not doing the redirect, so technically there is more of Trontavious Stephens. If you want to watch that, look up day 20 and day 21 of the YSL trial. Law and Crime has those streams. We are ending with day 19. There is a couple hours left of that with Love doing redirect. I don't want to sit through that. The next rewind we'll do, I think we'll look at D'Angelo White. We'll do that from day 56 and day 57, either tomorrow or next weekend. But I'm going to head over to Flesh of the Gods. We are going to end this stream. I'm going to play the ABCs of Steel to send us out. So you can either hang out through that and wait for the redirect or use this link to come on over with us. Oh, heck yeah, Aries One. And thank you. I don't know if you were in here earlier. Thank you for your Cash App. Wanted to make sure you heard me say thank you. I appreciate it. But Aries One says I complimented Attorney Weinstein and he responded pretty quickly with a thank you on X. Yeah, he's on it. Shout out to Doug. So there you go. Let me make sure I queue up the ABCs of Steel. And see you over at Flesh of the Gods. Have a good one, everybody.
A as in Alicia, and B, Your Honor, as in Barry. C as in Colette.
G as in Goldfetter. K as in Kittens. M as in Magic. P as in Perfect. C as in Colette. U as in Unbelievable. V as in Victory. W as in Wonderful.
O for objection. S for sustain. E for buffering. E for Pepto-Bane. S for slime, my friend, and you as in what you mean. I as in adultery call. M as in may I sleep. All the ABCs of Steel makes me feel so real. Yeah, they keep on spinning round. Never gonna let me down. G for gavel slams down P. T for tell him anything. R for rights we stand. I for infinity. Life's a courtroom dance. Keep your stances strong. With ABCs of Steel, you can never go wrong. Oh, the ABCs of Steel makes me feel so real. Yeah, they keep on spinning round. Never gonna let me down. Steel makes me feel so real. Yeah, they keep on spinning round. Never gonna let me down. Oh, the ABCs of Steel makes me feel so real.